It says here, modern science is quick to explain whale reports of it as simply vivid dreams. But those who say they've had spooky, amorous encounters say they're not making it up.
Yeah.
Indeed, in some cases, women claim they enjoy sex with spirits so much they have given up on real men.
But
So
these women
you've
are
had
clearly
it, Mike.
these women are clearly deranged.
You've had it,
aren't
MG.
they?
You have had it.
What do you mean I've had it?
You creeping around the edges
actually,
there.
I have had it. You haven't had it for even the best part of this century, have you?
You creeping around the edges there, trying to, persuade women to get lecherous with you. Your days could be over, mate, if these women suddenly find that there's a spook out there
Really?
who's 10 times better than you.
This is Talk Sport. We are the two mics. It is getting very, very close to Christmas. Of course, Alan Pardew's been fired just before Christmas, and it's time to say a very, very good morning to Mr. Mike, a Porky, a Parry. Very good morning to you, Mr. Parry.
Yeah, good morning, Mike. And what a dramatic 24 hours it is in the world of football, because when a manager is appointed to a new club, the reverberations go right through the world of football.
Yes.
Because it means that somebody's taken a vacancy. That means that other people who thought the opportunity was there for them, it's not there for them. They've got to look elsewhere. But it also means that if you think of the knock-on effect, all the talk tonight about Sam Allardyce going to Crystal Palace has been about Sam is guaranteed to stop you from being relegated from the Premier League.
Yes.
So if that's the case, that means that where there were 3 slots available for relegation...
Are you thinking Sunderland?
I am thinking Sunderland. Where the 3 slots for relegation... Crystal Palace are now not going to take one of them up. So that means there are 3 fresh places for relegation if we believe all the what we're hearing about Sam Allardyce. That means that if you're running Swansea or Hull or Sunderland, you've got to get busy.
Yes.
You've got to get busy either with your present manager in the transfer market in January or you've got to get rid of your present manager.
Well, we've already heard from David Moyes that Sunderland aren't going to have any money to spend. We haven't heard yet from Bobcat Barb about whether they're going to spend any money in the January transfer window.
I do offensive defending.
But we do.
One of his latest ones.
Yeah, well, we have got him complaining still about the way that people make fun of him for the way that he speaks. Let's have a listen.
You guys listen to me once a week, some of you twice. All right? 95% of my football vocabulary fits without a problem. When I'm speaking normally, I talk about home form, I talk about away form. But there is a part in American sports, if the San Antonio Spurs have a bad game playing outside of San Antonio, Greg Popovich will say sometimes we're not good enough on the road. So yeah, every now and then a little of that comes out of me, but not too much. And the idea that it draws attention, honestly, I don't even know what to say. It wouldn't make sense if I sounded exactly like everybody else. So, like I said, when push comes to shove, you try to make sure that your message resonates and is clear with the players. That's what counts.
That's what counts. But, of course, the message is not resonating very clearly with the players because Bobcat Barb is not in a good place.
Quite right.
Yes. So, I mean, it came as a bit of a shock, though, Alan Pardew, didn't it, after what he'd said a couple of weeks ago? I mean, I didn't think it would happen today, though, did you?
No. I could not believe that quote, right, about, so he gets 1 victory, doesn't he? The 2-1 victory over, who was that over?
Well, no, he had the amazing 5-4 victory, didn't he?
Sorry, the 5-4. No, that was Bobcat Bob.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, sorry, I'm talking about Pardew now. Sorry, going back to Pardew. Pardew had 1 victory.
Yes.
The 2-1 victory.
Yes.
I think it was 1 in 22 or something like that.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden he stepped forward and said, I really want to thank Steve Parish. He really stood up for me here because some of the investors, Crystal Palace Football Club, some of the men who've injected the money, he actually said, the man injected the money, don't know a lot about football. So, and Steve protected me from them and I want to thank him. I mean, look...
And do you think he thought that he was playing a very smart political game by thinking that he was sucking up to Steve Parish, when in fact he wasn't?
Well, I've no idea. All I know is that even if the people who've put up the money don't know as much about football as Alan Pardew, bearing in mind Alan Pardew's been a professional footballer and a relatively successful manager, you don't go and insult the people who are risking billions by investing in your club by telling them they don't know what they're doing.
No, quite.
It's outrageous. And he must have known from that moment on, surely, that, I mean, look, he's got £3 million payoff, according to some reports, tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
You sometimes wonder whether the price of failure in football is even more lucrative than the price of success.
Well, I suppose you'd have to say that it isn't, because no matter which way you look at that particular, cake, basically you must know that people will make more money if they stay in the game than if they leave it. But you're certainly right. I mean,
in the short term, he's got £3 million now for, nothing.
Yeah, but I mean, what was he making on an annual basis? Probably in excess of $1 million or so. So if he'd stayed there for another 2 or 3 years, he would have made even more money.
I reckon at a club like Palace these days, your contract's probably $1.5 million, so he's probably got 2 years' money or something like that, okay? Yes. Having said that, this is 2 years guaranteed money if he's got a £3 million payoff. Yeah. There's no guarantee whatsoever he would have lasted another 2 years.
Well, the king of all of that is your old mate Andre Villas-Boas.
Of course it is, yeah.
He's now making, what is it, 18 million a year or something ridiculous?
But I think he picked up nearly 20 million in payoffs from various clubs, Chelsea, Tottenham, wherever else he went in Europe. And
Zenit St. Petersburg.
Yeah. There is so much money floating around in football now that even failure is a massively well-paid business in the world of football.
Yes. Now, do you know what I have here in my hot little hand? Can you see what I'm holding?
What is it?
I'm holding a selection of cards from the Trivial Pursuit game.
Do you know what? You see that box
Very exciting,
you've just taken them out of? One time I remember being so bladderated at some dinner or something like that I thought that was the After Eight box.
Really?
And so when I was asked to... well, it's very similar.
It doesn't look different.
It's very similar.
It's a similar kind of a script as well, isn't it?
And one time when I was asked to pass the After Eight, I passed that round instead, and people thought I was mad because I was inviting them to play a game of Trivial Pursuit.
Now, to avoid any sort of accusations of gerrymandering, because obviously we've also got a board here.
Yes.
Now, if you'd like, what we can do is roll the dice in the traditional manner and move a piece around the board so that you get the questions that the random roll of the dice suggests.
How many different categories are there?
Well, my understanding is that there are 6 categories.
Well, in that case, I think we just take 2 questions at
but how
random.
do we select them? At random?
Well, hang on the cards in 6 different categories.
Well, they are, but I'll have to separate them out then in that case.
I see.
Actually, no. I'm just told that the card has a different category question on each
exactly.
one.
Oh, I see. Right.
So
okay.
if I was to take one out here, So I've got 6 choices here.
I see.
So maybe what we'll do is, as I pick a card, you can nominate which of the 6 categories you wish to have a question on.
But I have to pick 2 from each category.
But you have to pick 2 from
through
each category.
The 12. Yes. I see. So at random, I can say, right, my first one is arts and entertainment, right? And then if I get that right and I feel confident, I could make that my second, but I can't make it my third.
Yes.
Right, I've got it.
So you've got sports.
Yeah.
You've got, let's see, you've got history.
Yes.
You've got
very strong point for me, history.
Geography.
Geography's strong.
You've got E, which I presume is, I don't know what that is.
What?
Entertainment,
maybe? Yeah.
AL, what would that be?
That would be...
Arts and literature.
Arts and leisure.
Arts and literature, I think.
Okay, arts and literature, yeah.
SN.
SN, yeah, that'd be sport.
No,
science,
sport is SL.
SL, sport, yeah.
So, right, I want you to write these down.
Well, I'll write them down near the...
So you've got SL, SN, AL, H, E and G.
That's for later in the show.
Yeah, later in the show. Yeah, well, I just want to make sure that, you're not going to start mumbling and groaning and moaning.
9.
It's been done the wrong way.
9.
And so you won't need any rolling of the dice then, is that what you're saying?
Won't need a roll of the dice, no, because that will just that will just take up time, which is unnecessary.
Yeah. Okay, well, we'll be doing that a little bit later on in the show. We're also going to be talking to Stewart Weir, because there's a lot of Scottish news to be talking about.
Well, there certainly is.
Brendan Rodgers, of course, and also he'll have something to say about Alan Pardew, but also the MSPs up there have been talking about Scottish football and what a dire state it's in as well.
Do you know also there's a row between Donald Trump and Alex Salmond over wind farms?
Yeah.
And now that Mr. Trump, President-elect Trump, is now the President of the United States of America, if I was Alex Salmond, I'd take a far different attitude to Mr. Trump's investment policies in Scotland than I had previously, wouldn't you?
Well, Alex Salmond invited him into Scotland in the first place.
Yes, that's right.
And then sort of turned on him.
Yeah, that's right.
He sort of flip flops around like a haddock.
Yeah,
to be honest,
absolutely.
Salmon. Now, what about Donald Trump's view on the nuclear proliferation treaty as well? Because he's come out and said that he thinks that America should be
rearming.
Basically rearming and saying that they should be looking at their nuclear situation.
Yeah, but
however, he then adds, I don't mean to say that we should be getting more nuclear weapons.
Yeah, I'm not talking about using them necessarily, but I think he's just illustrating what he believes to be strong presidency.
Well, it's kind of a scattergun approach, isn't it?
Well, it is scattergun, but at the same time, I think he's if it's scattergun and the world are hearing these pronouncements from him, at least they're not hearing, well, I'm having a look at, CND, Campaign for Nuclear Disarmament. You see what I mean?
Yes.
I think he's going sort of largely down the I'm a stronger president route, not I'm a weaker president route, to his predecessor, Mr. Obama. That's what I think. President Obama, I should say, I'm sorry. And I think that's the message he's trying to put out.
Yes, I think you may well be right.
Yes,
We've got loads to do anyway. We've got lots more to come, of course. So this is not quite our final Christmas show because we are on the warm-up tomorrow from 11 till 1. By the way, they are saying that tomorrow is going to be one of the worst travelling days in the history of travelling.
Oh, I'm sure it will be.
So I'm not looking forward to getting back down to Sussex after the show. And in fact, I'm not even sure about...
Are you going straight from here?
Yeah, I am, yeah.
Oh, you'll get there by 6 o'clock, you'll be all right.
By 6? Well, 5 hours later.
What?
Well, we're going to finish at 1, aren't we? I'm talking about on Saturday. I'm not talking about this morning.
Oh, you're not talking about this morning. You're talking about tomorrow.
No, I'm not worried about this
Saturday.
morning.
Oh, no, Saturday.
This morning doesn't matter that much.
Saturday, yeah, could be a problem.
Saturday also coming in could be a problem.
Could be.
You know?
Could be.
Might have to set off before dawn.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Anyway, we'll talk all about that and much, much more. This is Talk Sport. We are the two mics. This is Talk Sport. We are the two mics. There will, of course, be a podcast coming out a little bit later on. Stuart Weir's going to join us. Sandra Lee's going to join us from Down Under. I've got a very nice new profile picture, by the way, Paul. Did you see that? Which was done for me by a guy on Facebook called Gordon.
Is that a painting?
Gordon Worthy.
Or is it a work on a photograph?
Well, you know what it looks like? Remember that day I went to the blow bar to get my hair sort of blown back, especially like that? No, I think it's like an app, basically, that's turned me into what he's described as a sort of cubist version of a photograph.
I think it's very imposing, nice, and I think you should put it out. And
well, I've made it my new profile picture on Twitter.
I've seen that, but you should offer up comment on it, really, to find out what our millions of listeners out there think.
It's been out there all day,
yes.
And generally speaking, most people think it looks great.
Yeah.
In fact, so much so that one guy has asked for the guy's details so that he can do one of him. He can commission him to do one of him as well.
Right, okay.
So, very exciting.
Very good. So, do we think Big Sam is definitely going to move in at Palace? We do, don't we?
Well, I mean, all the papers seem to be very sure.
They seem to be saying that it's
very sure.
The deals was started a month ago.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's always horrible, isn't it, when you're in a job and behind your back and unknown to yourself, people are going around and sounding you out. There was a guy once who I worked with in Newcastle.
Yes.
On the Newcastle Evening Chronicle. In those days, we had an in-profession magazine called the UK Press Gazette.
Yes.
And it was the Bible for anybody.
I mean, it's still going, but it's now in
website,
online form only, I think.
And it doesn't have any news in it these days, as far as I can see.
No.
But what I was going to say is that it was the Bible for anybody who worked in the newspaper industry. You know, the minute that dropped into the newsroom at the weekly paper you worked on, everybody scrabbled for it and all that. And there were two reasons. Firstly, it was full of news and gossip about the industry. But secondly, it used to have about 6 or 8 pages of jobs advertised in the back.
I mean, that was one of the things that I used to search as a sort of a job search scenario.
Exactly.
And that's where I found all the advertisements for the Shoe and Leather News,
that's right.
the grocer
and all that,
the camera job, and all the jobs that I ever applied for were in the back of the Press Gazette.
Absolutely. In fact, when I got my first job on the Daily Express, they took a half-page advert in the Press Gazette.
Yeah.
Reporter wanted for the Daily Express and its northern office in Manchester.
Right.
Applied to. And I got 363 applications for that job, that one job.
363?
363,
wow.
Yeah. And I got it.
300 of them from you?
Well, it could have been 300 from me, but mine was a very strong application because I was such a pioneering journalist on the Birmingham Evening Mail in London.
Would you say that in your application you slightly gilded the lily?
No, I didn't. I didn't have to. Funnily enough, I was the only one from the provinces who'd been on foreign jobs, because Birmingham was a big place and there were bombs going off in holiday resorts in like Benidorm and Mallorca, and I was always sent out to do those,
Right.
Because there are lots of Birmingham people on holiday there. But no, the point of my story is, and by the way, there was a guy in the Manchester Evening News who was so certain he was going to get the job.
Right.
He didn't bother applying.
Is that right?
He was doing a casual shift on the Express in Manchester after he'd finished his day on the Manchester Evening News. He'd go over to the Daily Express, and he was like their regular nightman, So he was so certain he was getting a job, he didn't bother applying.
Really?
Like formally applying.
See, that's ridiculously arrogant, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Did he ever get a job subsequently?
No, he never got a job on a national newspaper. And Stan, I've forgotten his name now, Stan, famous Northern news editor, Stan. I'll get his name in a minute. He was a Geordie guy.
Not Blenkinsop.
Blenkinsop, yeah, thank you. Stan Blenkinsop, yeah, Geordie guy. Never learnt to drive because he had bad peripheral vision and kept smashing into police cars and things. No, seriously, he did.
Really?
Yeah,
not
he
as a
did.
result of bladderation.
No, not as a result of bladderation. He just had wonky eyes. But he had to break the news to him that he hadn't got the job, and the guy was shattered. And well, who have you given it to? I know Manchester inside out. He said, yeah, I know you do, but you don't know anything else, And he never, ever, the guy's name was Andy something, never, ever got... Anyway, the point of my story is, the guy I worked with in Manchester, in Newcastle, was what was his job now? I think he was local authority correspondent or something like that, or something like that. Newcastle had a big sort of, Northumberland County Council, Newcastle Civic Council, all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
He had a special correspondent.
And in those days, they were quite big organisations.
Oh, big organisations. And just before that, there'd been the Poulsen scandal, which was largely based in the North East and all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
T. Dan Smith and all that kind of stuff. But he goes on holiday to Cornwall, St. Ives.
Yeah.
And the press was such a Bible that you had it redirected to your holiday hotel. He's on a beach, he opened it, saw his job advertised in the back of the Press Gazette while he was on holiday.
Worse.
Yeah, there's nothing
there is
worse.
Nothing worse.
Nothing worse at all. And of course, he frantically on the phone. Oh, it's all a mistake and all that.
Yeah.
Got back to find he was out of work.
Dear me.
I know.
It's a very hard world, isn't
it?
Now, just before we go on, a couple of things we have to say, a bit of housekeeping.
Yes.
I've got to say a big thank you to Andrew Mead, who sent us wine in the past, and sent us another couple of bottles of wine for the Christmas period.
Well, that's very kind.
I'm very, very sorry to tell you, though, however, that he has sent me a Chateau La Roque, which is a Saint-Emilion Grand Cru.
Oh, right.
Very nice.
And what's mine?
Yours is a Black Tower.
Oh, don't
I'm
be.
afraid.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
I have got a picture of it here.
You taking the mickey?
Yeah, I took the package home this morning. And he did the same last year when he gave you kind of a bottle of what can only be described as questionable white.
Lambrusco or
on
something,
the basis
was it?
that he knows that you have no taste in wine. Knowing that I'm a connoisseur of it, he sent me a very nice bottle. So if you want, I can bring you the Black Tower in tomorrow and make out that it's a gift. If that makes you feel better.
Are you doing any cooking over Christmas?
I will be doing some cooking over Christmas.
Use the Black Tower, okay.
Do you think I should?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, definitely.
Because you're saying you're shunning it. You're saying you don't want it.
I don't respond to insults like that, to be honest.
Well, Andrew, still very nice gesture, I have to say.
Yeah.
Andrew Mead, and so we just put a tweet out.
Yeah, thank you, Andrew. Thank you. Thank you for your thoughtlessness. Yes.
Well, I mean, I think he's trying to be funny as well. I think he means it in the nicest possible way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. And can I add one to that, please?
Yes, please.
Now, about 2 or 3 weeks ago, on a daytime show, we did a wine tasting.
We did.
Do you remember?
Yes, I do remember.
And
it was very, very nice wine, actually.
I was going to say, a box of wine had come in, and it didn't have a label on it. We didn't know where it had come from. Right. It was addressed to myself. Another one came in for Mr. Brazil.
That's right.
Which we stored in in one of the offices,
yes.
and which Al, I think, only picked up this week.
Yes.
Because, doing various things. Anyway, we didn't know who'd sent this wine, but we were aware of the quality of the wine, and we actually did a tasting with, who was the wine
with
expert?
Oz Clarke.
Oz Clarke.
With Oz Clarke,
right, yeah.
a very famous man who knows an awful lot about wine, and is very unpretentious about it as well.
And every time we mentioned one of the labels that we were tasting, he was very appreciative of the quality of the wine.
Well, do you know the one that I remember the most was the
Albarino,
which was this Northwest Spanish bottle.
Excellent.
Which he said, because they grow the grapes on the side of the mountain by the sea, you can actually taste the sea in it.
Taste the sea.
And it was very, very nice wine.
Very nice wine.
So who's it from then?
Well, this is the point. I had no idea. Anyway, I got a call this morning.
Yeah.
Mr. Brazil had finally picked up his wine and gone off. Now, either there was a communication in his box, but not in mine, or somebody had contacted him to find out whether he got the wine, but it transpires the wine was sent to me by Rod Stewart.
Is that right?
Yeah, and
your old mate Rod.
Yes, and I can't thank him enough because what a lovely gesture. You've got to remember, Rod rang into the show when we'd had a discussion about the way people were being mean and parsimonious about Rod's £7 million house out in Essex, and trying to make out it was chintzy and all that, which of course it's not. And Rod very kindly rang in and engaged in the conversation with it and thanked us for our vote of support.
Followed up by the papers, of course, that story.
It was. Absolutely delighted to say, yeah. So on the back of that, he sends the wine. I have to say, a more genuine bloke, a more genuine chap than Rod Stewart, you've probably never met in your life. And if you're listening, Rod, or even if not, somebody's listening who knows you, thank you very much indeed for that wine. Yeah. It was a wonderful gesture. He obviously didn't have to do it. One of the world's most famous men. And to send me a case of wine is beyond beyond parallel. Thank you very much indeed.
It is fantastic.
Yeah.
And also, as a result of him being on the show, actually, because I've been thinking a lot about Rod Stewart,
yes.
I've got a lot of Rod Stewart Christmas songs sort of going around in my head, so I've been playing a lot of those in the car as well.
Hey, by the way, the man who must not be named got himself into another political row.
He did, yeah. He's having a big row with my lookalike, Michael Gove.
That's right, he is.
Michael Gove had a go at him last night, basically, saying that he was doing something which he thought was rather shall we say, unceremonious, in that he was basically... because he's got a book out, right?
Yeah.
He's basically tweeting various shops around London, saying if you'd like to, purchase my book and sell it through your shop.
Oh, I see.
There might be things that we could do together, that kind of thing.
So basically, he's saying, please sell my book and I will plug your shop.
Well, I mean, it wasn't
the insinuation?
That was the insinuation. And certainly that was what Michael Gove was suggesting.
Sorry, that was Michael Gove's insinuation.
That was Michael Gove's insinuation.
Yeah, I see.
The man who must not be named's defence was, why are you having a go at me for trying to promote my own book? There's nothing wrong with doing it. And by the way, I don't write about butcher shops, because you're putting it in places like, small bespoke butcher shops and, sort of little delis and things like that. But he's a hugely unpopular guy. I mean, every time he goes anywhere on social media, there are people all over the place from various worlds of politics, from the showbiz world, and even just ordinary people. I mean, our own listeners are constantly tweeting him and getting blocked.
Yeah, they are.
On the basis that they ask him, what do you think about the price of chips at the Ritz? He immediately blocks them.
He does, yeah.
Very thin-skinned.
Very thin-skinned. I'd be prepared to call a truce with the guy and say, look, we'll have a powwow. We'll show you.
I wouldn't.
Well, I would, and I'd say, I'll show you how you can become popular.
Yeah, you know what? This is a guy who will never change.
Yeah.
He's pompous, he's full of himself, he thinks that he's a socialist.
I don't think we've ever met him, have we?
I've never met him, no.
That's what I mean.
So, but he was on our show back in June, I think.
He was. I'm judging him on like a 5-minute conversation on the phone.
I'm not judging him on that conversation
look, I don't forgive fools lightly, and I don't forgive those who've transgressed against me at a whim. But I'm wondering whether we've been a bit harsh to the boy.
Not at all. I mean, don't forget, the reason that we had a go at him in the first place was that he sent a very, very foul-mouthed and unnecessary email to one of our young assistant producers after he appeared on our show.
That's right.
And that was one of the reasons that we went for him. And I would say that would be another reason to go for him at any other time.
Okay.
He's pompous. He's full of himself. He doesn't take Mickey taking very well. He's got very thin skin. And he writes for the Observer, which practically nobody reads.
Yeah, that's right.
So, the guy thinks that he's, the big whatever. And in fact, he's not.
Well, fewer people read The Observer. Many, many, many fewer people read The Observer than listen to our show on a regular, on a daily basis.
Absolutely right.
Many fewer.
Yeah.
So I don't know why anybody would bother writing for The Observer.
You can make peace of it if you like.
Well,
but don't count me in.
I'm not saying I will. I was floating the idea as a peacemaker because it's a season of goodwill.
That's true.
Yeah.
It is a season of goodwill, but not to the man who must not be named.
No,
This is Talk Sport. This is Talk Sport. We are the two mics. James has tweeted in. He says, MG NFL alert. Big Thursday night game before Christmas between the Giants and the Eagles, kicking off very soon. Not only very soon, it's actually already kicked off. So we will keep you updated, of course. It's in the first quarter, a couple of minutes gone already. But before we talk about that, let's talk some more about Alan Pardew, because we've got some calls coming in.
Indeed.
08717 22 3344. Vinny is a Liverpool fan, I believe. Vinny, a very good morning to you.
All right, how are you, lads?
Yeah, not bad,
very
mate.
good.
Not bad.
Mike and Bernie. Right, no, apart from that, talking about Allardyce, do you think, how on earth, with his ability, as he climbed to certain levels, I don't think he's as good as what people say, to be honest.
Well, he does the job he's asked to do, doesn't he?
Exactly.
Well, it's not just the job he has to do. That's his job. Well, that's a strange statement. His job is a manager. But he's actually realistically done nothing, has he?
No, but what I'm saying is, when I think you misheard me, I said he does the job he is asked to do by the clubs that hire him. They basically say, bring Sam Allardyce in, keep us down from going down to the lower division, and that's what he does. And so that's why they brought him in.
No, but what I'm saying, he's actually kidding people up, isn't he, to be honest?
He's what, sorry?
He's kidding people up.
Fitting people up?
He's kidding people up, he's kidding clubs up. He hasn't got the ability, so I'd like to.
No, but he keeps them. He keeps them in the Premier League, and that's worth hundreds of millions of pounds.
Who's he kept in the Premier League, realistically?
Well, he kept Sunderland in the Premier League.
Exactly, very much so. He made Bolton a top 6 club, believe it or not. I mean, he's very good at establishing clubs in the Premier League or keeping them there.
He kept West Ham in the Premier League, didn't he?
He did. Well, no, he got them into the Premier League, didn't
West Ham.
Yeah, but he kept them in it as well.
No, you're missing the point. At the end of the day, he's kidding everyone up, but he's not kidding up the fans that properly get him as a manager. To be honest, the ability-wise is virtually nil, isn't it?
Well, if you look at West Ham and where they are now, under Sam Allardyce, they were doing a lot better. I mean, they had a great season last season, but this season not so much. If you're a Crystal Palace fan, you probably feel a bit more confident with Sam Allardyce coming out the tunnel than with Alan Pardew, don't you?
Well, if you ask the fans, I don't think they'd actually think that at all. I think what I'm saying is he progressed to England manager. How on earth has he done that?
Well, we're going to ask Palace fans, and we're going to hear from some Palace fans, and we'll find out if they're happy about it.
Yeah.
All right, cheers, Mike and Benny.
Thanks very much indeed.
Thank you, Vinny.
Vinny said, well, I think we were getting confused with his colloquialism there, which was kidding people up.
Yeah.
Which I would normally say kidding people on.
Yes, exactly. No, I think what that expression means is that he's a bit of a con man and that he's actually not doing the job that people think he's doing. But Vinny misunderstood, and you tried to ask him about it. The job he's been asked to do.
Well,
His job he's been asked to do is keep them in the Premier League.
Well, even if he's saying that as a footballing guy, he doesn't always deliver what he's supposed to deliver, I think I would disagree. I think he always delivers what he's supposed to deliver.
I totally agree.
Let's talk to Jem, who's an Arsenal fan. Hi, Jem.
Hi, good evening.
Very good morning to
hello,
you.
mate.
What would you like to say?
Hi, just with Alan Pardew, I totally agree with what you just spoke about.
Yes.
Okay.
Because Pardew, I believe, is a much better manager than Sam Allardyce. And I'm more confident with Pardew in a relegation scrap. If I had a choice of managers.
What? Sorry, you'd rather have Pardew in a relegation scrap than Sam Allardyce?
Yeah, much.
But Sam Allardyce has got a great track record of saving clubs in relegation scraps.
Yeah, but Pardew's a better tactician. He's more masterful.
Well, what's happened to him over the last calendar year?
Doesn't look that way, does it?
Well, he's been blighted by the signings he's made because they haven't really played for him. Like Ben Teckery paid a lot of money for him, and he ain't. He's not producing the goals that. But
that's isn't that his job though? His job is to get him to play for him, and he signed all these players, and so if they're not working,
but if the player's not performing on the pitch, he can't force him or anything. He's supposed to score goals and keep him, high in the table, and he's not doing that. That's wasted money from Pardew, and he's lost his job for it.
Well, hang on. So why are you talking Pardew up? On the one hand, you're talking Pardew up. On the other hand, you're saying he made a bad signing, Benteke. He's lost 22 games in a calendar year, more than any other Premier League manager in history. Why are you talking this guy up?
Well, because Pardew,
he's an Arsenal fan.
He's an exceptional manager.
Exceptional?
Exceptionally bad?
Are you sure?
You name me one better English manager in the Premier League.
Apparently, despite the fact that
What about Eddie Howe?
Well, despite the fact it all went a bit wrong, you'd have to say Eddie Howe is better. Despite the fact that it went wrong, you'd have to say Sam Allardyce is a better English manager because he was chosen by the FA as the next England manager. Now, the fact that it all went rather awry as a result of his rather ill-advised sort of extracurricular activity doesn't mean that he's a worse manager than Alan Pardew.
No, I totally disagree with you. I mean, those managers, I haven't even really, seen them in the Premier League.
Well, what would you say Alan Pardew has achieved in his managerial career?
Well,
nothing.
The way you can get a team to play.
No, but he hasn't achieved anything, has he?
What about with West Ham? He done really good.
No. Throughout his career, Jem, is that your name, Jem?
Yeah.
Jem, okay, Jem. Throughout his career, he goes on a burst of 6 games where he gets about 15 points out of 18 or something like that. Then he goes on a run of 6 losses. He's done that all his life. That's what he does. Thing is, Jem, you're either winding us up because you're an Arsenal fan or you're intoxicated. Which of the two is it?
Well, I'm just saying. I believe Pardew he's one of the best managers.
No. Your argument is so flawed, and we've pointed out the flaws for you. You've got to accept that.
You've got nothing to back it up, Jem.
Well, I've got nothing to back it up, but you haven't given me a better manager.
Well, we have.
I've just told you Eddie Howe. What do you think of Eddie Howe?
And Sam Allardyce.
Who's Eddie Howe?
What?
Well, he's a manager of Bournemouth, Jem.
Yeah, he's a manager of Bournemouth. What's he done?
Well, what do you mean, what's he done? He runs Bournemouth, which are a much smaller club, and he's had a considerable amount of success with them over a number of years, brought them up from lower divisions, beaten Liverpool. I mean, I think you're winding us up, Jen, but it's good of you to call. Thank you very much indeed.
Yeah, and a very Merry Christmas to you. I suppose we should start saying Merry Christmas to people now that it's that sort of time of the year.
Ho, ho, ho.
Ho, 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 indeed. There will be a big Christmas special tomorrow, of course, on the warm-up, where we'll be able to talk about Christmas presents.
Yes, we will.
What we'll be doing over the Christmas period and all that.
We will.
Lots and lots of tweets coming in. James says this: the man who must not be named went to Haberdasher's Asks Boys School.
I've seen that, yeah.
So that should tell you what a snob he is.
Where is it, by the way?
Well, it's just sort of North London, isn't it?
I think it's North London, yeah.
Yes, I think it
is. His mother was Claire Rayner, wasn't she? Who was one of Britain's most famous agony
She was one of the first ever agony
One of the first
really.
ever, and an extremely distinguished journalist, and all-round good Fleet Street egg.
Yes, indeed. Steve says this: I see Sir Rod's house every time I take someone to Stansted. Oh. It's a lovely place, huge piece of land. I don't know whether he means the new place, because when Rod spoke to us, he told us that he was moving. Yes. Because, in fact, the whole story was about how somebody from the Daily Mail had been very sort of snitty.
Mail on Sunday, actually.
Mail on Sunday, sorry. Yes. Had been very snitty about his house and the decorations therein.
That person never been inside the house, by the way.
Yeah. Dave says this: after the return of Sam Allardyce, looking forward to Porky's new series when Bobcat met Big Sam.
Yeah, Bobcat met Big Sam.
Bobcat's still in a job.
Well, look, you have to say that a byproduct of Sam Allardyce going to Palace means that Bobcat is safer than he was yesterday, because yesterday, you can bet your life, the board of Swansea were considering options, and Sam Allardyce is the number one option for any club that's struggling.
But what about this scenario? What if they now think, hang on, as Jem just said, Alan Pardew is one of the greatest English managers known to man. Yeah. How about he gets offered the job in Swansea?
It's not the most ridiculous thing you've ever said, because that's the way football works these days.
Thank you very much.
No,
what do you think is the most ridiculous thing I've ever said?
Oh, too numerous to mention. Too numerous to mention. It's like wallpaper.
Yeah.
Like wallpaper.
Adrian says this: can't Mr. Parry use the Black Tower himself for cooking? It would be lovely with beans on toast.
No, thank you. I do not add wine to my beans.
I bet you used to drink Black Tower when you were a youngster, though.
I probably did. What was it? It's like a white German wine.
It's a
Riesling. Yeah,
it's a sort of a Riesling.
I'm pretty sure I did. It would have been very cheap. I used to drink cheap bottles of cider just to get intoxicated quickly. Yeah. So I'm sure I would have moved on to Black Tower at some particular point in my drinking life.
Yes.
Yes.
Johnny says this: I just saw a clip of Porky leapfrogging a postbox and rolling in the road.
Yes.
#bladderation. Yeah, that's one of the many clips you can find on Two Mics TV.
Is it on Two Mics TV?
It is on Two Mics TV, yeah.
Is it really?
I believe so.
I don't think it is.
I think it is.
I don't think it is.
Really?
I think it's on...
You think it's on one of your rogue sites?
A Porky Parry TV, actually. Yeah.
Well, why have you got another TV channel?
Well, it's from my previous incarnation.
Well, shouldn't you move everything across to the Two Mics?
Well, I think it's about time I did, actually. Yeah, I think we will.
Yes. Now, we should say, because you've been doing the same. It's been very difficult, but we're very grateful for all the very nice messages for Happy Christmas.
Oh, definitely.
And thanks for all the shows that we've done through the course of the year. If for some reason we miss some of you out, it's only because there's an awful lot of them coming in. So can we just make a vow to say thank you to everyone who sent us such a nice message over the last couple of days?
Look, I wanted to say thank you to everybody who sent a nice message. What I also want you to know is that I am not in the business of saying to people every 30 seconds in the 2 or 3 days before Christmas, Merry Christmas. Right. I hate saying that.
Do you?
I don't like saying that. Have a nice Christmas, Merry Christmas.
So when I just said we should say Merry Christmas to the callers, would you rather not do that?
Well, I think it's a bit patronising to say to somebody, Merry Christmas, Happy Christmas. You've got to understand, you see, because I'm a psychologist, an amateur psychologist.
Psychologist.
I understand that for most people, Christmas is actually more of a burden than it is a pleasure.
That's not true.
Because most people's lives are miserable in their existence.
I don't agree.
And what happens is...
That's what you project onto them.
No. What happens is they come to Christmas and they think everybody else is having a great time. Everybody else has got money to buy presents. Everybody else is going out to parties. Everybody else is going to enjoy a fun Christmas day. Everybody else has been invited round to the neighbours for mince pies and sherry, except me. Most people feel like that.
No, they don't.
They do.
No, most people are the ones being invited round for mince pies and sherry.
No. Most people secretly resent and rather hate Christmas because it's the season when you're supposed to be happy. But most people in this world don't have a lot to be happy about.
See, I think, once again, you're projecting your misery onto everybody else. And I'm sure when I ask people to tweet us at the Two Mics, whether you're happy about Christmas or miserable about Christmas, there will be a massive number of people who are happy. Let's talk to Paul, who's a West Ham fan. I bet he's happy that Crystal Palace are in a bad place. Yeah. Paul, very good morning to you.
Yeah, good morning.
Are you?
I'm a massive fan of the two mics.
Thank you.
It's a rare opportunity.
Now, are you as
normally I don't get a chance.
Are you, as Porky describes, somebody who hates Christmas and is very miserable and has a terrible life?
I haven't got a terrible life, but Christmas is okay. I do enjoy it. It's
there
a
you go.
chance to be close to the family. So,
But it brings all sorts.
So
it brings all sorts of pressures, Paul, because you want to buy more expensive presents for your family. You want to push the boat out. You realise the credit card bills are stacking
push the envelope.
up. Yeah, pushing the envelope and all that kind of stuff. And it can be miserable, can't it?
It can be.
Well, there you go.
And also, Christmas is a time to think of people that are nearly departed as well.
Well, that's absolutely right. Yeah.
Exactly
anyway,
right.
talking about the departed.
Don't get sucked into the misery of Mr. Parry's world.
No. But talking about the departed.
Talking about departed, I like that.
Yeah.
Alan Pardew, you must be rolling about with laughter about this, mustn't you, Paul?
Yes and no. I mean, Pardew took us to an FA Cup final. But, he's gone, and it's not a surprise to me that he's gone. I mean, his record speaks for itself. I saw a stat on the Match of the Day website earlier where in this year, 2016, they've earned less than a point per game.
Yes, that's right.
So, the writing was on the wall. But what I wanted to say is that, Palace, they're in a tight spot at the moment, and I think Sam Allardyce is the man to keep the club up and to consolidate, where they want to go.
Is there any part of you, Paul, that's surprised that Allardyce has come back quite so quickly from the scandalous way that he left the England job?
No, not at all. I mean, when he got that job, and obviously he was caught in a precarious situation, and I had a little chuckle, I guess, but at the end of the day, I think there's a part of me that thinks that. He shouldn't have been caught like that. This is this is the world we live in.
Sure.
But he left himself open to it. But
I think
Palace, of course he did. Yeah.
Well, he'll be a wiser man now. What about this West Ham situation? How happy are you with Bilic?
Last season was the best football that I've seen at West Ham since since we had Tony Cottee and Frank McAvenny in the '86 season. We finished third behind. Everton.
Yes, that's right.
Porky, on goal difference, you know. So, we played adventurous football last season and it was great. This season has not been great. I'm a fan of Bilic. I don't think the board have backed him. They've sold the ground for between 40 and 50 million. They haven't pumped the money back into the squad. I don't know what the situation is there, but I just feel that they've left the manager unbacked to a certain extent. And they haven't bought in the quality. They've bought in quantity, but not quality. Yeah. As far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, and
that's how I feel.
Okay, but you'd like him to stay presumably because you have to say to yourself, he goes.
Yes, I do.
Who's the alternative?
I do, I mean, I think I think that we've got enough to start this season, Porky, and I'd like to see him stay because I think he showed last season that. He's capable of.
I think he's got. I think he's got endearing qualities, Bilic, and I think he's worth a long-term punt. Yeah, I totally agree with you. Yeah.
Paul, listen, have a very Merry Christmas. No, Porky doesn't want me to say that to you, but I hope you enjoy it anyway.
No, Merry Christmas.
Regardless
I don't mind saying that once or twice.
Here's one from somebody that is a fellow traveller of yours. Here he is. He says, Porky's right, says Steve. I hate Christmas. Starts earlier every year, and it's forced down our throats almost. Roll on January.
Yes.
Well, January won't get any better. That's going to be a new year, and you might have more worries to think about then.
No,
new
Christmas
year is a time to celebrate
new ambitions, new opportunities, new challenges, new life.
Have you seen the time?
Time? What's time?
This is Talk Sport.
The Alan Brazil Sports Breakfast on Talk Sport with Ford. It's the breakfast show that doesn't compromise on delivering the biggest names from the world of sport.
That's the Alan Brazil Sports Breakfast every weekday morning from 6 a.m. on Talk Sport. Don't miss it.
The Alan Brazil Sports Breakfast. Weekday mornings from 6 on Talk Sport with the new Ford ST line. The drive you probably, almost definitely deserve.
Whether it's your business to serve something delicious,
open wide,
keep smiles bright, or make someone's day with a lovely bouquet, businesses all have one thing in common: cash flow. And at American Express, we can help you with it. With our Gold Business Card, you could get up to 54 days interest-free credit, plus your first year's annual card fee on us, saving you £125. Giving you great service is our business. Search Amex Small Business. 54 days interest-free if you spend on day one of your statement period and pay off your balance in full when due. See website for terms.
If you hear the sound of an engine and can see how it works, we might have a job for you. The DVSA is hiring vehicle standards assessors. You'll be carrying out inspections on vehicles from trucks and trailers to coaches and lorries. You'll advise, inform and answer customer queries. You'll help set safety standards and ensure they're followed. If you have knowledge and experience, work with us to help drive road safety forward. Apply today at gov.uk/DVSA.
The Two Mics, simulcast across the UK on Talk Sport and Talk Radio.
That boy needs therapy.
This is Talk Sport. We are the Two Mics. There is a very special, a festive Porky Quiz coming up a little bit later on, which has not been set for the first time by the independent quizmasters.
Yes.
It's going to be a live game of Trivial Pursuit, at which point you're going to pick the cards. I'm going to read the question on the card.
It's fair to say the questions could have been written decades ago. Yes.
Well, they could have been.
Yes.
They could have been.
Yes.
But I
Yes.
mean, we will have no truck with questions that you don't like and you then reject. You know,
Yes.
you will pick 6 times two subjects, right?
Two categories.
Yeah, and
sorry, 6 categories, 2 questions from each.
Yes,
yes,
and you can choose the whichever
Yes.
way you want to do that, but you will have to answer the questions, and there can be no gerrymandering.
No,
it's not possible.
No, I agree with that. I agree with
Fantastic.
that. I'm
Now,
very confident. You know, my
What's your
command.
prediction out of 12?
8.
8.
My command of general knowledge is, for instance.
Well, don't get too carried away. We've got to talk to Stewart Weir.
Yeah, we're going to right now. But sometimes you go to these pub quizzes and you see.
I don't do them.
Well, I go into pubs and I see, signs on the wall, pub quiz. I'm always being rung up by people saying, "Please come and join our pub quiz team," because
Who rang you up and asked you to be in
because
the
the
pub
pub
quiz
quiz
team?
is all about general knowledge.
Who was the
all
last
the
guy
time.
that rang you up and asked you that?
All the time.
Who?
Let's talk to Stewart. Come on, I'll tell you later.
Yeah, so you won't be
Yes.
able to tell me. Stewart, very good morning to you, and Merry Christmas.
A Merry Christmas to you guys as well.
Yeah, hi, Stu.
Now, are you one of these Porky miserable brigade types who thinks that Christmas is a pain in the neck and you can't wait for it to be over?
I have to side with him in this one.
Dear God.
Yeah.
You're a very sad man if you sided with Porky on this one.
Not at all. Not at
Yeah,
all.
the world's most miserable bloke.
No, not at all.
But the thing is, I'm looking at it from a work perspective where we are still working on Saturday afternoon and even on Christmas Day we should be actually working as well.
Right.
So,
well, up there, your big thing is New Year, isn't it?
Yeah, and we're helped this year, of course, greatly by having an Old Firm game in Hogmanay.
Yeah, what a great idea that is.
What could possibly go wrong?
Yeah, I know. Well, there's a bunch of games today, right? There's a bunch of games on Saturday as well. And so Christmas really does come early, I suppose, if you're a Scottish Premiership fan.
Yeah, indeed. There's 4 matches on Friday evening, this evening. Dundee Hearts, Kilmarnock St Johnstone, Motherwell Aberdeen and Ross County Partick Thistle.
And Celtic and Rangers not playing each other, but both playing on Christmas Eve.
Yeah, both playing Christmas Eve, and already Brendan Rodgers has come out and got his excuse thrown in early, just in case the mighty Hamilton Accies beat Celtic.
What's his excuse?
He's basically saying that he doesn't believe that artificial surfaces are good for football. Unfortunately, there are a couple of them in Scotland, something because of the type of weather we get here.
Yeah.
But Brendan Rodgers doesn't really fancy playing on them.
I knew a guy when I worked up there, Stuart, who had his back garden done out with artificial turf because he was fed up with his kids, ripping up the real turf because it was all so wet and horrible that he actually put AstroTurf in his garden.
Yeah, well, I mean, I have to say the standard of pitches now compared to the old drastic plastic one is much improved. I mean, the GC and G4 pitches now and the kind of mixed pitches like they have at Murrayfield, which is probably one of the best playing surfaces in the world when it comes to rugby as well. They really can help matches, be it football or rugby. But again, the thing with the clubs is that they're always frightened of injuries. And I think on this occasion, maybe Brendan Rodgers is thinking out loud just ahead of the Christmas period. He doesn't want to lose any of his key players over the next couple of weeks, especially with an Old Firm match looming.
Well, that's absolutely right. This time of the year, it's absolutely crucial. Of course, we get such a congested fixture list, don't we, over the Christmas period, Stu? It can make or break seasons.
Yeah, absolutely. And in fact, tomorrow in the Herald, one of our columnists, Stephen Thompson, gives a fantastic insight into what it's like to be a professional footballer over Christmas. He retired last season, and this will be the first time in about 20-odd years that he's actually managed to celebrate New Year and Christmas, because normally he's either training in the morning and then travelling to a match and maybe staying in a hotel on Christmas night somewhere before playing Boxing Day.
Yes.
Or he's early to bed at home. So,
that's right.
It's a bit of a sacrifice for these guys. And I know people will say, well, they're well compensated for what they do. But it is a time of year when everybody else is having it off, and they're still part of the entertainment industry.
That's right.
And the show must go on.
That's right. Now, Stu, I was listening to an old buddy of mine, Stubbsy, Alan Stubbs, right?
Yes.
Earlier today, he said it'll be 5 years before Rangers catch up with Celtic.
I think it could be that, and even longer.
Well, I mean, how does that present us with what's going to happen in Scotland over the next 6 or 7 years with a one-man league?
Yeah, well, I think you're actually seeing that just now. I mean, Celtic go into this weekend's fixtures with a 14-point lead over Rangers and with a game in hand. So, I mean, they're out of sight already, and I think this is a shape of things to come. I mean, yesterday, the CEO of the SPFL, Neil Doncaster, was questioned by MSPs who had serious concerns over the youth development system in Scottish football.
Well, you should be, shouldn't you? You should be. You haven't produced a good footballer for 30 years.
Yeah, I have to agree. I mean, actually, I was having a discussion in the office yesterday with one of the guys, and whilst there's been quite a few, if you like, foreign players who have left Scotland and gone and made it big in England, I'm thinking like, Wanyama and guys like that, actually thinking of the last Scottish player to go down into England and actually rip it apart, you are going back 30-odd years. I would say the last guy to actually do that would probably be someone like Frank McAvenny.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah, I mean, but what are the MSPs getting interested in all this for? I mean, what makes them think that they can suddenly, wave some magic wand into the world of sport, which every time they touch, it goes horribly wrong? I mean, remember the last time they tried to outlaw what they called sectarianism? It didn't go very well, did it?
No, there's a history over the last 15 years. I think the best example of MSPs getting involved in anything was when Scotland and Ireland were going to put in a joint bid for the Euro
That's right,
Championships, and went and put Croke Park in as one of the venues.
Yeah, that's right, yeah, great idea that. We'll all flood there.
Do you know when they came up with the idea that there were sectarian images that could not be used at football matches?
Yes.
They basically ended up saying that the Union flag of the UK was a sectarian image,
that's right.
as was the Irish tricolour.
Yes, that's right.
And once they realised that they couldn't actually ban national flags, they just sort of retreated slowly back to the back room.
The MSP, Stu, must be quite happy then that old Malky Mackay has appeared on the horizon, because this man's clearly going to save Scottish football, yeah?
Well, I had this conversation last week when the appointment was made. I don't have a problem with Malky Mackay getting the job, because people will say, somebody was trying to tell me he's a danger to me and my family. No, I'm sorry. A drunk footballer driving a car after the 4 times over the legal limit is a problem for me and my family. But with a footballer who does that, he serves a year ban and is fined maybe £1,500. Malky Mackay wasn't fined or banned or anything, and had this sort of was in a state of limbo. Do I think he's the right guy for the job? No, I do not. I think Scottish football should think further out of the box rather than just going to the unemployment office or the dole queue to find out what Scot doesn't have a job currently and then go and pick
That's
him.
right.
Well, exactly
That's
right.
Yeah.
Now, let's just finally, Stuart, before we let you go, Brendan Rodgers obviously loves himself, as we know. There's no reason to hide that particular fact. But how much do the Celtic fans love him?
Oh yeah, greatly. Well, given the fact that Ronnie Dyla wasn't exactly the most charismatic character, a kind of decent coach, the fact that they've landed somebody like Brendan Rodgers, who did so well at Swansea, did well at Liverpool, and now he's the Celtic manager. I mean, they're cock a hoop at this, but I think the thing with this is long term. How long will Brendan Rodgers, want to stay at Celtic? He will have to start performing well in Europe, in the Champions League, and the likes. Once he does that, where then is the next big challenge, and it has to be back in England.
I think you might find him back at Swansea at some point if they can survive this particular season in the Premier League. You know what I mean?
I think you could well be right. Because, I mean, look, I'm not insulting Scotland, but it's meaningless being the Celtic boss anymore because you are going to win the Premier League every season.
Yeah, absolutely right. Stuart, listen, we've got to let you go. Thank you very much indeed. Merry Christmas to you. Enjoy the weekend, and we'll speak to you, I'm sure, on the other side.
Ho, ho, ho.
Lots more to come. How about this from Adrian? He says, doesn't Mike Parry talk a load of Biloxio? I'd have to agree, but not all the time. This is Talk Sport. This is Talk Sport. We are the two Mikes. There will be a podcast coming out, and of course we are back. This is not our last show before Christmas. We're back tomorrow, Saturday, from 11 to 1 p.m. On the Talk Sport warm-up.
This is
now Robbie
true.
says, Porky the Humbug, shut up, you miserable old sod, and drink the Black Tower wine.
Well, that's very
he
nice.
says, Merry Christmas.
I am only trying to be practical. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with Christmas, and I like Christmas myself, and I go to see the family on Christmas Day. It's great. We all get together, and we have a lovely Christmas lunch and all that. What I'm saying is, please remember that if you're fortunate enough to be able to enjoy Christmas, lots of people don't because they find the stresses and the strains and the pressures of, children who want presents and having to spend money on things that they don't really want to get involved in, and all that kind of stuff. It happens to everybody.
I must say, there is a ridiculous rush to the supermarkets to buy food for what is effectively one day where the shops are closed. Yeah. Because it's only one day. Yeah. I mean, the shops are open tomorrow on Friday. Friday today. Yes. Shops are open Saturday. Yes. They're closed on Sunday by and large, but then they're open again on Monday. So, I mean, the idea that everybody has to stock up with loads and loads and loads of stuff.
To be perfectly honest, these days, because we're such a multicultural society now, there's plenty of places open on Christmas Day anyway. Yeah. So,
there are in London, but not necessarily enough for every single part of the country.
I think you'll find there probably are in most places. Listen,
let me just give you a quick update. New York Giants 3, the Philadelphia Eagles 14. Second quarter just about to get underway.
I don't think
it's going to be a high-scoring game.
I don't think anybody cares.
This is one of the great rivalries in football.
What?
Philadelphia against the Giants.
Oh, really? Yeah. Right, okay. Now, listen, something I want to talk to you about, which is a very odd story that's knocking about. It's been growing for 2 or 3 days. Are you aware that young people are breaking into IKEA stores and spending the night there, sometimes hidden in a wardrobe?
I saw this story yesterday.
Because, and it's called the IKEA selfie.
Yes, isn't it weird? I mean, it's become a thing. I
just can't believe it.
It's become a thing where these teenagers. It was started apparently by 2 YouTube sort of vloggers.
That's right. Yeah.
These people that have millions and millions of followers. Yeah. And they film themselves doing all kinds of stuff. So now everybody wants to do it.
That's right. Now IKEA are being very sensible about this. What they've said is, look, just pack it in, kids. They've not called the police. Right. They've not said these people will be arrested. They've not turned out security guards, to every IKEA place. Right. There's a huge IKEA place down in a place called Purley.
Well, they're all massive, aren't they? There's a big one in Southampton as well.
Well, the one in Purley you can see from miles away because it's on the site of some old sort of mill or something. It's got 2 huge chimneys, and the tops of the chimneys are painted blue and yellow.
Yes.
So you can see it from literally from miles away.
Can't miss it, can you?
And of course, it's the same procedure. You go in at one point, you come out at the end, and you're not allowed to turn round halfway through, are you? You have to walk through and keep going through.
It's a bit like that scene in Midnight Express, where they walk around the pillar in the middle.
And he starts walking the other way.
The other way.
Yeah.
And whenever you try and do that in IKEA, it always reminds me of that particular scene.
That's right, it does,
because people are almost trying to push you back the other way.
I agree. But it's the weirdest thing. I mean, why people get into these things and think, it'll only last like minutes. It's like, do you remember one time there used to be a new crime and it was called, loads of people rushed into a shop, took everything off the shelves, then rushed out again.
Yeah.
Flash, wasn't it?
Like a flash mob?
Yeah, flash
mob. They
mob.
call it steaming, didn't they?
Steaming, that's right,
That's what they used to do on the tube, when they used to steam through a tube train.
That's right,
and rob everybody on the way down.
That's right, and then get out. And that only lasted a few weeks, and then it was going. But this IKEA one, all IKEA have done is said, look, we've just heard YouTube fans refrain from taking part in this ridiculous global internet craze. Because it started where you had to sort of boast that you'd stayed the night. Yeah. Now they're sending in pictures of bouncing up and down on beds and all sorts of things.
Well, because they are such cavernous places inside.
Yeah.
I guess, depending on how many security guards you want to employ over the course of the night, You can't find. You could probably hide from security inside an Ikea store.
Yeah.
Pretty much any time you wanted to, couldn't you?
I suppose you could. I suppose you could. It says here in Sweden, home of Ikea, 2 14-year-old girls narrowly avoided arrest at a branch in Jönköping, and 2 15-year-old girls in Malmo spent the night in a cupboard as they were scared of setting off the burglar alarm and coming out of the cupboard after the shop had shut.
Oh, right.
They were discovered in the morning and reported to the police for trespassing.
Well, so they have reported a few people then?
Well, only locally.
Yeah.
I mean, the company itself is not sure. But it says there have been more than 1,000 copycat incidents across the world, including in countries the United States, Canada, Netherlands, Japan, Australia and Poland.
Yeah, I don't think it's happened here yet, has it?
I'm not sure. I'm trying to find out.
Not
A spokesman for IKEA explained that the company was taking the illegal sleepovers seriously and cannot guarantee the safety, of those involved when alone in the store.
Yes, I know. It's a bit, some of these phenomena that go on. I mean, it was like the Pokemon thing that everybody got excited about just a few months ago. And you don't see quite so many people walking the streets now playing Pokemon.
No, you don't.
Or capturing them.
And of course, it's all born out of social networking, because if there wasn't a social network on which you could boast that you were staying the night in an IKEA store, you wouldn't stay the night in an IKEA store, would you?
No, exactly right.
It's about, does a tree make a noise when it falls in the forest if nobody's there?
Well, we have had that conversation before. Have you ever been trapped anywhere where you didn't plan to be?
Trapped somewhere I didn't plan to be?
I mean, I've told you my story of how I was trapped on a train once going into Grand Central, where I fell asleep, unfortunately, due to a bit of bladderation.
Yeah,
when I woke up, everything was locked. The doors were all closed.
That's right.
I couldn't get out.
Bit of bad news. I don't think I've ever been trapped anywhere I didn't want to be. Well, apart from places like Tripoli, and...
well, you weren't really trapped, though.
Well, you couldn't get out. And,
but you weren't sort of in an enclosed place trapped, is what I mean.
Well, I was trapped in the hotel when it got bombed because all the stairs fell away and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So
I thought you got out.
I did get out.
Well, you weren't trapped then?
Well, I could have been trapped if I hadn't had rat-like cunning to...
Well, if you hadn't been able to escape, you would have been trapped.
To find my way out. But anyway, that's another story.
Being trapped. You must have been trapped somewhere. You must have been locked in somewhere.
Well, the famous incident in Newcastle, of course, and I was with you.
Oh, of course, yeah.
When I went down the wrong fire escape and couldn't get back up.
And then the door closed behind you. And you were down for about an hour, weren't you?
That's right, yeah. I was. Listen, now don't take this personally, but how often do you wash your hair?
How often? Every day.
Every day, okay, right. Now then...
Well, I don't always use shampoo on it.
Yeah, okay, I can accept that,
Because I was once told by a guy that used to cut my hair,
it's
actually not a good idea to wash your hair every single day. So sometimes I'll just put conditioner in it.
It's the same for your skin.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily have to have water on your skin every day because it dries your skin up and all that kind of stuff.
Well, I certainly don't. I don't use a lot of soap on my skin.
No.
As a general rule.
Yeah, well, I try to use stuff which is like good to your skin, if you see what I mean. Expensive stuff,
Like what?
Well,
what do you buy? What's your shower gel of choice?
My shower gel of choice is one that's made up of coconut and butter oil.
Yes, but what make is it, though?
Palm olive.
Palm olive?
I think.
So that's the expensive stuff you're talking about?
Oh, yeah, it's very expensive.
No,
it isn't. It is.
Palm olive's cheap rubbish.
No, it's not.
It is.
No, it's not, no. Anyway, look, the reason I'm telling you this is shampoo sales have absolutely plummeted.
Have they?
As the nation embraces bad hair days.
Uh-huh.
There has been over this year, right? I've got these figures from my commerce manuals.
Commerce manuals?
Yeah, my commerce manual.
Wow, I didn't realise you had those.
£23 million less spent on shampoo this year than last.
And what's that as a proportion of how much is spent?
A proportion.
Is that? I mean, I'm sorry to ask you these questions.
7.9%.
So that's quite high.
It's nearly 8%.
It's quite high.
Now, the reason is, the smoking ban, so of course this affects you, and trend for working from home mean people wash their hair less, often leading to a drop in sales of shampoo, conditioner and styling products.
What's it got to do with the smoking ban?
Well, I suppose what that means is that people who don't smoke don't find themselves in smoky environments.
Oh, I see.
Do you see what I mean?
Yes, I suppose so. They don't think they have to wash their hair so much.
I mean, funny enough, without giving the secrets away, when we were once doing a show, the promoter allowed people to smoke in the dressing room.
Yes.
Which I found actually not very nice.
Did you?
Well, I thought the atmosphere was because you're not used to being in places where people smoke anymore. You know what I mean?
Well, to be honest, when somebody says that to me,
yes,
that you're allowed to, you can smoke inside.
Yeah.
It's actually quite an alien feeling.
It's an alien feeling,
but then you don't know what to do with the cigarettes.
But then you go outside and your clothes smell of smoke and that sort of stuff. But funny thing is, when you walk around for a bit, then they don't. It's very odd.
Well, it's one of those things that you notice. I mean, I've given up smoking occasionally throughout the course of my life, and on those occasions that I do, your nose becomes far more kind of, shall we say, sort of sensitive to the fact that everything does smell of smoke.
No, I totally agree. So that's one reason why they've fallen. Now, this report, by the way, is about to be published in one of your favourite publications.
Oh, yeah.
The Grocer magazine.
The Grocer.
You did apply for a job there, didn't you?
I did indeed.
But you didn't get it?
I didn't get it, no. I think I applied for the editor's job.
Okay.
And like many of those jobs, I got shortlisted, but they thought I was too young, you see.
Oh, I see.
So I was only about 22.
Okay. Right. But it says here, Ian Morley, who is a sales director at Procter & Gamble, one of the big companies who produce hair shampoo, who own 3 of the most popular brands, told The Grocer, right, we're also seeing more women growing their hair, which is having an impact on the number of times per week they wash their hair.
Right.
So women with voluminous hair don't wash it as often because it takes so long to dry.
Right. Does that mean they put it up more?
I think it does. Yeah, I think it does.
Hair sort of up in a bun
I think it does.
Like
But I think that's a very interesting report. That very, very interesting.
That is interesting. Yes. And I think also people have worked out that there's no need to wash your hair every single because you wash all the natural oils out of it.
Well, I've told you the story before on this very programme about the bloke who worked for them. He worked at the paper I worked. I think he worked at and then he worked at the Sun, and then he worked at the Mirror. And he claimed he didn't wash his hair for 2 years, and he put it into like Bob Marley type dreadlocks, and said he didn't wash it. But I mean,
was he a traveller?
No. He was. I think he was just a kind of.
Was he a reporter?
Thinking. No, he was the back. He was on the back bench.
Oh, I see.
We know who he is. It was his name.
Oh, you're talking about John Morehouse?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Moorhead, rather.
Moorhead. That's right. Yeah. He didn't wash it for 2 years.
Yeah, he had a ponytail when I knew him.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. But I think he had dreadlocks after that or something. Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Bit of a weirdo.
Well, that's very harsh.
Yeah.
He's not dead, you know.
Oh, is he not? No. Okay. Yeah. Well, good luck. Good luck, John. You're a good professional.
Yeah, give us a call.
Yeah.
This is Talk Sport. It's coming up to Christmas, and everybody needs an advent calendar. So here's one for you, 2 Mike style.
Ho, ho, ho. I'd say the Michael Jackson one was very, very famous around the world, and of course that invoked zombies to reappear in graveyards from the depths of their graves.
Sorry.
Well, it did.
Ho, ho, ho!
Hey!
I don't remember that one at all, but it's very nice to hear these little surprise clips, isn't it?
Well, obviously that related to Thriller, didn't it?
Exactly right, yeah. Sandra Lee is coming onto the show very shortly. She says, ho, 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 and good morning, Great Britain, from steamy Australia. She's going to be talking to us very soon, in about 10 minutes' time.
Oh, really? That's great.
So she's going to be updating us on a whole bunch of stuff that's going on. Tracy has tweeted as well, having looked at your Porky Where's Your Trousers video, which is also on 2 Mike's TV. She says, wow, that is superb.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you.
That's not bad, is it? Although, actually, it turns out she's not referring to that. She's referring to a piece of animation which has been done by CCL, which is Porky Parry showing all the love. He's used that picture of you with a kilt on and lots of hearts coming out of it, which is quite nice.
Oh, yeah. Where's that from?
Well, the picture is originally...
Somebody posted this, have they?
Yes, on Twitter. Can you not look at Twitter and do the show at the same time?
I can, but I mean, I like to give my full attention, care and consideration and time to the millions of listeners who are plugged in listening to us.
Here's a couple of tweets in your favour, right? Sean says, I agree with the Porkmeister. Shoot me now. Christmas has become too much mentally and financially stressful for so many people.
Yes.
And Hobbsy says, Porky is right, Ray Christmas. People buying stuff others don't need with money they don't have for people they don't like.
That's right.
That's a terribly negative way of looking at it, I have to say.
Yeah, but it's real and it's pragmatic.
Well, I haven't bought any presents for anyone I don't like, right?
Yeah.
I'm not buying things that they don't need.
Yes.
And I would say that it is not too much mentally or financially stressful for me.
OK, well, here's Becky, right, who is our sort of biggest listener in the Southern Hemisphere. She says, my tiny airport is packed. It's full of excited children, people hugging, grandparents travelling to be with family. 'Tis the season to be merry.
Yes.
So, and another one here from Dr. John,
Yeah.
who's, I don't think he's probably not a doctor.
Well, he might be.
I doubt it. And he says, oi, Scrooge, stop talking about your own miserable life. We're all looking forward to Christmas. You are a plank.
Yes, indeed.
That's not a very medical diagnosis.
Well, he could be a doctor of physics or something like that, couldn't he? He doesn't necessarily have to be a medical doctor.
Yeah.
Lee says, I don't know all these mad crazes that come out. Pokemon, Ikea sleepovers, the Cinnamon Challenge. You've got to be a plank to do it.
Yeah, well, you say that, but I mean, unless you are a plank, you don't know.
And James says, palm olive, only the best for Porky. Ha ha. 1 litre bottle in the pound shop is where I get mine.
1 litre, the Black Tower?
No, 1 litre bottle of palm olive.
Oh, palm olive,
in a pound shop.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Yeah, well, that's all right. Nothing wrong with palm olive.
Well, there's nothing wrong with it, but it's not exactly top of the range, is it?
No. What do you mean?
Well,
There's nothing wrong with palm olive.
There's
It's
nothing
good.
wrong with it, but you said you only buy expensive stuff.
I do.
And palm olive is not ranked as expensive
Well,
stuff.
Mine must be super palm olive or something like that. 'Cause it's very good.
Palm olive.
Yeah. Now then, there's a chap here who has the handle "Show me the money," right? And he says Porky Parry's an ill-educated big mouth.
Are you sure you want to read that out?
Yeah, well, he didn't actually say big mouth. He says something else. Big mouth.
Something else that you can't repeat.
Who uses radio to mock Bob Bradley for the way he speaks. Now, is that a statement, an opinion, or what? I'm not sure.
You see, the funny thing is that there are those people who I describe as people without a sense of humour, who try to say that anybody having a go at Bob Bradley because of the way he speaks are somehow in the wrong.
Yes.
It's nonsense, because the way, people don't make fun of Bradley because of the fact that he speaks with an American accent. They make fun of the things that he says. And I mean, he's been on, as we heard earlier, justifying why he says some of those things, like road games.
That's right,
because, that's what they call them in America.
Offensive defence.
But I was thinking about this. I mean, you and I both spent time in America, right?
That's right.
Now, when I lived there, so much so that when I came back, people said, why do you say things the way you do? If you want to get understood in the place where you're working, if it's a foreign country, you have to adapt to the way that they speak. So there's no point in talking about road games if you're managing a club in the English Premier League.
I totally agree.
Or the Premier League, as he calls it. When
That's
I went to America and you went to a restaurant and you wanted tomatoes with something, you'd have to say tomatoes.
Yes.
And if you wanted a glass of water, you had to say glass of water.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they didn't understand you.
That's right.
So you have to adapt. And if he's not going to adapt, then he's a plank.
I totally agree.
In my view.
I totally agree with you. Always ordering a sandwich was difficult because they could never get the concept of putting butter on a sandwich instead of mayonnaise.
No, exactly. And also, the idea of a sandwich in America is so much more complicated. I remember when I first came back to work in London.
Hold the
mail.
Hold the mail.
Because you'd say, right, can I have a a ham and cheese sandwich? What kind of cheese?
Yeah.
And they'd give me about 15 different kinds of cheese.
What kind of ham?
What kind of bread? You want brown, white,
That's
wheat?
Right. That's right.
And I came back to London and decided to get a sandwich in a sandwich shop.
Yeah.
And I was like, can I get a ham and cheese sandwich on brown bread with mayonnaise and some lettuce and tomato, please? And the guy's like, hang on a minute. Hang on a minute.
How long are you going to take me?
And he refused to he said, I can't put mayonnaise and cheese on the same sandwich.
That's right.
I said, why not?
Exactly.
That's what I want. He's like, no, we can't give you cheese and mayonnaise.
No, exactly.
It's not right.
You're absolutely right.
Ridiculous.
Some people here saying they've been out on the lash tonight. Delighted to be listening to the Two Mics live after some pre-Christmas bladderisation. I think you'll find, folks out there, that our campaign this year is bladderisation in moderation. Is that all right?
I would say
to that extent, we have put out our Christmas message, done by Porky, Parry,
Parry.
Padre Parry, the Porky.
Padre Peaky Parry.
Yeah, Padre Parry, the Peaky Blinder, has put out a message saying that must only be in moderation. A finely crafted verse for which I've had a tremendous amount of praise, by the way.
Yeah,
thank you very much indeed.
Mostly for me, just standing there with a straight face. Funnily enough.
Yeah, yes, that's right.
Like Lurch.
That's right. Yeah,
which is rather odd.
Now, on that advent calendar feature which you do in this show, I loosely call it a feature. I mean,
I mean, that may be giving it more importance than it needs. Yeah, you're right.
Excuse me, I choked on that. Yeah, it says. The squeaking in the advent calendar, is that really a door opening, or is it just Porky's wallet at this time of the year?
That's not right, is it?
That's a bit harsh,
I mean,
isn't it?
there are many things that you can be criticised for, but putting your hand in your pocket to pay for something is not one of them. There are plenty of people around the TalkSport towers who could be accused of that, but you're not one of them.
OK, well, that's kind. And Tracy B actually is praising the Porky Wears Your Trousers, because in the communication I've got from her, she says, "Wow, that is superb." Porky Wears Your Trousers.
Yeah, but she's referring to the thing I showed you.
No, I don't think she is.
Well, she is. If you pull it down, you'll see that it's linked to the previous tweet.
No, I don't need to pull it down.
You were speaking the other day about striking and how you weren't in favour of people striking around about the Christmas time.
Well, if it seriously damages everybody else's lives, of course I'm against it.
Are you aware that up at your favourite hotel, the Adelphi in Liverpool, the workers are going on strike later today.
Yeah.
And on New Year's Eve.
I sent out a caustic comment to that tweet by saying nobody will ever notice. The staff were so poor, it wouldn't matter whether they're there or not.
Well, apparently they're not going to book on for shifts that start between a minute after midnight and midday on December 23rd and on December 31st. Two of the hotel's busiest days. But having said that, I mean, I know that you say that they weren't very good. However... Can you imagine what it would be like booking in there on New Year's Eve?
Well, don't.
To find that actually there's nobody to book you in.
Don't. We can warn you all now. If you're thinking of going to the Adelphi in Liverpool on that day, just don't. Go somewhere else. There's plenty of good hotels in Liverpool.
Well, if you were thinking of going to the hotel at all, but quite a good piece of advice would be don't bother.
Now, we've got a request here, which I suppose we must fulfil. It says, "Hi, guys. Very happy Christmas to you both. Any chance of confirming when you're going to be on over the festive period?"
Well, we've done that, haven't we?
Have you done that?
Well, we're going to be on. Well, the festive period being Christmas Eve.
Yes.
Boxing Day we're not. Christmas Day we're not on. Although you are, aren't you?
Yes, I am. Yeah.
You've done one of those rogue Clash of the Titans type shows.
Well, I have more to do in it. You're absolutely right. We're working on it. It's a work in progress.
Yeah.
What I wanted to say was, no, over the whole of the festive period, we are on Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
We are with our families Christmas Day, Boxing Day.
Yeah.
Then on the Tuesday,
yes,
we're back here to do 1 till 4. The normal slot occupied by our very good mates Paul and Andy.
Yes. Hawksby and Jacobs.
Yes, for the rest of that week. And then the following week, we will be doing the mid-morning show from 10 till 1.
Indeed.
Which is a wonderful slot we do. We feel we have a natural habitat there to communicate with the old listeners. And what's the problem?
I don't know why you're bumbling on about this.
I'm not bumbling on. I'm
just saying that that's the show we're doing.
Yeah, well, that's it. Yeah, but I mean, it'll be great to communicate in full, and we'll have a few guests that week who are coming in to see us. So we're in very good shape.
Yeah, good. We're not on, however, on New Year's Day, but we will be on New Year's Eve as well. Which is
hang on. New Year's Day is a Sunday. Is that right?
New Year's Eve will be on the warm up.
New Year's Eve will be on the warm up. That's absolutely right. New Year's Day, and by the way,
not New Year's Day.
No, New Year's Day we won't be because we don't work Sundays anyway. But I'm about to say to you, New Year's Eve is the 31st. Is that right?
Yeah,
it is.
Same every year.
Yes, and that's Saturday.
It is.
What I was going to say to you is that on the Friday prior to that, the 30th,
yes,
Everton are once again live on telly at Hull.
Are they?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, the night game.
Why should I be excited about that?
Well, I'm excited about it because it means I'll be coming in on the Saturday morning full of the joys of spring because I expect us to beat Hull.
Well,
That's
you
right.
hope.
That's right.
If you don't beat Hull, you're in a bad place. James says, super palm olive. I must ask for that next time I'm in Poundland.
Yeah.
I'll be laughed out of the store.
Ha, 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 ha.
And Star Scream says this, Cam his name is, only use the expensive stuff, palm olive. Ha, ha, ha. Porky, you've made my year.
Sean says here, I am walking my dog in Wellington, Florida. I didn't know there's a Wellington, Florida. I suppose there will be.
Wellington?
Yes, Wellington, Florida.
Yeah.
Listening to the two mics. I'm originally from Preston. Merry Christmas to you both.
Thank you.
I don't know. There's a word here which I can't make out. I'm originally from Preston, and then the new word says Lances, Lances. Oh, Lancs. Preston Lancs. Yes. He's put an E in it. Lances.
You know why? That'll be that corrective text.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, okay. Yeah. From Preston Lancs, Merry Christmas to you both. Well, Sean, I hope you're having a great life over there in America, but Preston is a fine place.
Is it?
I was there just a few weeks ago.
Were you?
Yes.
I haven't been to Preston.
Yes.
I've only been through it on the train.
Yes.
Francis says, looking at Porky's hair and complexion, has he been using napalm olive?
Napalm olive.
#complaint.
Now, coming up next. Funny about napalm, is there?
No, not really. Coming up next, time for Sandra Lee from Australia.
Indeed.
Of being gerrymandered on the basis that I'm just going to be picking cards at Mr. Parry's disposal, and he won't be able to claim that anything's been set up beforehand.
That's right.
So, right now, though, we're going to talk to our favourite Australian, Miss Sandra Lee, because it must be very close to Christmas Eve over there now.
Indeed.
Over in Sydney. Sandra, a very good morning to you. Welcome.
Ho, 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 and good morning to you two chaps, and Merry Christmas.
And Merry Christmas to you. Is it actually Christmas Eve yet?
No, not yet. We've got about, coming up to 9.5 hours before Christmas Eve.
Because we're going to do a show on Saturday here at Talk Sport, and I know that for my kids, I will start tracking Santa from sometime during the day on Christmas Eve, sort of very early hours of the morning, when he first arrives in some of those Pacific Islands, and then New Zealand, and then Australia.
Yes, but I think we're third in line.
Sandra, I know this sounds like a ridiculous question, but as the temperature in Australia is sort of tropical, can all your little children in Australia accept that Santa flies around in a coat, a red and white coat, so thick that, if you wore it in the normal daily temperature in Australia, you'd faint within 3 minutes?
Pretty much all of our kids accept that Father Christmas comes from the North Pole and that he has a big white beard and a big red hat and big black boots. And they're quite happy with that. Yeah, no one. They don't need a sort of a panic room to deal with it.
No, excellent.
Is that a dog barking in the background?
Yes, it is. It's my dog barking in the background.
We've never heard your dog before, have we?
Yeah, she's saying, is there friend or foe?
Oh, right.
Oh, I see. And what's the dog's name?
The dog's name is Seisha.
Seisha. That's a strange name. Who's that named after?
Why is it a strange name?
Oh.
It's actually named after the town in the very furthest northern part of Australia on Cape York from where she was rescued.
Is that right? Well, What a great story. So it's a dog that was going to have a miserable and appalling life until you got in there and put the dog in paradise, yeah?
Pretty much, that's right. She's come from the top end of the country right down to sort of almost the bottom end of the country.
That's
and
great.
She's living in clover.
Now, funnily enough, Porky was pointing out to me earlier in the week that if you look, there's somebody sent us in actually a map which showed an incredible kind of distribution of population where the outside of the island, really, or the continent of Australia, or the subcontinent, I guess you might call it, is actually inhabited. There's hardly anybody in the middle.
2%, Sandra, 2% of the population of the whole of your country, which I think is, 25 million or something like that, live in the interior of Australia. Most people live within 40 miles of the coast. I mean, 98% of them. That is amazing.
That is amazing, and it's absolutely 100% true. And the very simple reason is because there is nothing in the middle of the country except dirt and dust and desert.
Yeah.
And it's incredibly, it's like an inferno in there. So very few people live there, and the only people who go there are tourists, really. Yeah,
I suppose so. But, I mean, you do have to sort of dig a lot of iron ore out of the earth, don't you, in those places? And those sort of camps, the mining camps and all that crop up. Is it right that if somebody goes missing, like goes bush or whatever the expression is, after about 12 hours...
No?
Yeah, walkabout something. After about 12 hours, you're dead, aren't you?
Well, it depends on the weather, but pretty much you would be. If you went walkabout or went missing during the day or sort of got lost, you would be brown bread pretty much within 24 hours unless you had some supplies with you.
And does that happen? Because, I mean, over here we have the sort of Cairngorms problem where people go up for a walk into the mountains, which are not massively high compared to other mountains around the world, but they can be very, very cold and inhospitable very quickly. And people are always having to get rescued. I mean, do you have to rescue people out in the middle of these sort of desert-type places?
Yeah, lots of people do get rescued, and they're mostly tourists. And quite often you hear those bizarre stories of tourists who are following a sat-nav and they end up going on a road that doesn't exist because the sat-nav tells them there is one. And all of a sudden, unless they have a satellite phone to call in the recruit to find them, they are pretty much gone to God.
And the thing they don't realise is that even if they've got like 2 litres of water in their car, that ain't going to last long, is it, in the inferno that you've been talking about? And you're suddenly faced with the prospect of not having any life support.
That's absolutely right.
Yeah.
And very few people realise sort of the extremes of conditions that they're going into, which is why every time a tourist says they want to cross the Nullarbor or go from the south to the north through the desert, through the great interior, there are warnings everywhere about how well prepared you have to be, how you have to tell the authorities where you're going and when you're expected to get there so somebody knows if you don't turn up, to send out a search party.
Yeah, well, a search party wouldn't get there in time, would it? Because it's so fierce. But anyway, tell you what I wanted to talk to you about as the year comes to an end, Sandra. What is the Donald Trump effect on Australia? I mean, it's reverberated around the world. Here in England, we're wondering where we are in the pecking order with the Americans, with Donald Trump, the new president. Is there a Trump effect now about to kick in Australia as the inauguration of the new president looms?
I think there is. And in fact, we've been seeing it over the last sort of 16 to 18 months while he's been going through the campaign, that long and winding campaign, which had as many highs as it did lows for him. But we are seeing it here. And one of our Liberal politicians this week had a story on the front page of the Australian newspaper saying that he was going to split from the major Liberal Party because the Conservatives weren't being given enough due process or weren't being considered enough. And we've also got Pauline Hanson's One Nation, which has been given a major kick sort of along. And she is now going to be running about 16 candidates in various state elections that are coming up, and with good prospects, I have to say. So there is a change in the mood in the public here for politicians, and I think it's the same as what happened with Brexit. People just don't like being told by the elite, how to think and what to do.
Yeah, right.
Well, I suppose that might still... I mean, we're still waiting to see what the effect of all of that will be over the course of the next kind of 4 or 5 elections.
Absolutely.
Because the difference with Brexit and the American election was that it was more people sort of not really understanding what it was that they wanted to do.
That's right.
And nobody still really knows whether Brexit's going to happen.
Oh, right. Well, I reckon that if it doesn't happen, the greater silent majority will be more vocal.
Yes, I think so.
That's my prediction.
Okay. Now, Sandra, I want to talk to you about a very important story which we extracted from Australian Newswires this week, and that is a couple who were in bed, just going to, normal nightly sleeping, when a kangaroo jumped through the window and ended up in bed with them. Now, is this something that happens on a regular basis in your country?
No, it's the very first time anybody had heard of it. And I think the kangaroo got as much of a shock as the couple who were lying in bed.
Yes. Why did the kangaroo suddenly decide, oh, that's a nice window, I think I'll go through that one?
I don't think it realised it was going through a window. No one can work out why it happened. And these people don't even live in a particularly bushy area.
Yeah.
So there was no real reason that the kangaroo, they don't have hordes of kangaroos living around them on a property.
No.
It just seems, it may have been that the kangaroo was hungry and was venturing after food somewhere. Who knows? Nobody can tell. But it did. It jumped through a plate glass window, ended up on the bed, and then got a big shock and had to be sort of chased out of the house.
It's a pretty big shock to the couple lying in bed, though, isn't it?
I thought so. Yeah, they're massive things, kangaroos, aren't they?
Huge. They can be like 6 foot tall, can't they?
Oh, they can be even bigger, and they're incredibly vicious when they're cornered. They can eviscerate you with their claw. They've got these massive claws on their jumping feet,
yes,
on their hind legs, and all they need to do is lean back on one of them and slash you with the other one, and you can literally be disemboweled by them.
Right. What you mean? They can kick you to death?
Yeah, well, they don't kick you. Basically, they claw you to death.
Golly, I didn't know that. I thought they were quite friendly.
No, they're wild animals.
Well,
don't go too near them. Why
do some mad people then actually have boxing matches against kangaroos? Because it's all very well putting a pair of boxing gloves on the two shorter.
Well, as long as you don't do that kickboxing.
On the two shorter limbs. But all of a sudden, as you're watching the kangaroo's shorter limbs, all of a sudden you get a kick in the ghoulies, so to speak.
Roundhouse.
And you've suddenly lost your manhood. I mean, it sounds like a dangerous sort of occupation.
I think you said it in your when you started off that piece, though, Mike. It's because they are mad, M-A-D, mad.
Right? Yeah.
Now you were telling me earlier in the week, Sandra, there's been a couple of snake stories down there.
Wow.
No shark stories, perhaps this week, but a couple of snake stories.
Yeah, we've had a couple of shocking snake stories up in Cairns, so in Queensland, far north Queensland. A 76-year-old man was bitten twice on his foot by a coastal taipan, which is one of the most deadliest snakes in the entire world. It's probably the third most deadliest snake. And it was spotted earlier in the day in a neighbour's house, and the neighbour called the local snake catcher to come and find it. And the snake catcher couldn't find the snake, and then later on that evening it ended up in the neighbour's house where he spotted it in the bedroom, and he called his wife and said, "Love, bring in a pair of kitchen tongs. I want to get the snake out." He thought it was a brown snake, and it wasn't. It was this coastal taipan, and it attacked him, bit him twice, and he went into paralysis and near shock.
Blimey.
He was very lucky that the ambulance got there in time, and they had antivenin on him, and they administered that, and he's now in hospital fighting for his life.
Wow. Does it look like a brown snake, or could you tell that it's different?
Unless you're a snake expert, you probably wouldn't be able to tell. It is very, very similar in colour to a brown snake.
So in Australia, Sandra, do the emergency services have a regular supply of the whatever it is? What do you call the antidote to poison?
Antivenom.
Antivenom.
I mean, so it is I wouldn't say it's a regular occurrence, but it's something that can happen at any time to you, is it?
Yeah, it can. In certain areas in Australia, in the hotter areas particularly, and particularly during summer and around rivers and creeks and country areas, snakes are absolutely rife. And all of those emergency areas, they are well and truly kitted out with antivenom.
Golly, and that sounds like quite a job, the snake catcher.
Yeah.
You got a lot of those.
I mean, you wouldn't fancy a snake catcher who couldn't catch a snake.
No, you wouldn't, no.
No, and this poor bugger, he felt so bad when he realised that the neighbour was bitten later on that evening. He said, could I have done all I did? And clearly, you can't find a snake if it slithers off somewhere. But there was another story even closer to home to me in Melbourne at the moment where I am, in Frankston, which is a beachside suburb, so a lovely beachside suburb, and a woman went in to put some presents under a Christmas tree, a fake Christmas tree, by the way, and all of a sudden she heard some rustling, and a tiger snake had wrapped itself around like tinsel in the Christmas tree.
Oh, golly. So he was hiding in the tree, so to speak.
He was hiding in the tree, and there's a photograph of it. I'll post it on your Twitter stream so that you can see it.
Yeah.
But it actually looks a bit like, really highly sort of decorative tinsel.
No, I see what you mean.
And is this another dangerous snake then?
Yeah.
Not as dangerous as the taipan, but you wouldn't want to be bitten by it.
No, I certainly wouldn't. How do they get rid of it? Do they call the snake catcher?
They did call the snake catcher, and this one caught it.
Oh, really? Yeah, he's got. He did his job properly.
Thank God for that. So you're in Melbourne for Christmas. Have you got any massive plans? The family's all gathering?
All the family's gathering, and we're just going to be having a typical Australian traditional Christmas, which is exactly what you'll probably be having: a hot ham and turkey and all the trimmings.
Sounds brilliant, doesn't it? I just can't. And
watch out for the snakes, I guess.
Watch out for the snakes and the kangaroos coming through the window in the middle of the night. But no, we've had this conversation before, Sandra. I can't handle looking out the window on Christmas Day and seeing this blazing sunshine. But I'm sure you've got used to that over the years.
Well, I haven't. It's already 30 degrees here at the moment, Celsius, and on Christmas Day...
Oh, my God! 30 degrees.
35.
When you say she's got used to it over the years, she's from Australia.
Yes, I know, but of
so
course...
what's going to get used to?
Yeah, but of course you'll have spent many a freezing winter in America, Sandra, in your days as one of the world's great roving reporters on the road. And did you ever think to yourself, wow, I really do prefer 4 feet of snow around me on Christmas Day rather than 35 degrees of heat?
I have to say I do prefer 4 feet of snow around me on Christmas Day, and I would take a cold Christmas, a white Christmas any day over a hot Australian Christmas.
Well, there you go.
Well, there we are.
There you go.
Well, listen, Sandra, have a wonderful time.
Yes,
we'll speak
thank
to
you,
I'm
Sandra.
sure, in the new year, and have a wonderful Christmas, and I hope Santa brings you everything you need. Got a great one here from Connor, who says, my kids are excited about Rudolph and Schweinhund coming tomorrow night.
Rudolph and who?
Schweinhund.
Schweinhund.
This is Talk Sport. This is Talk Sport. We are the two mics. We're going to be talking some more about Christmas. It's 21-13 now, Philadelphia against the New York Giants. So it's getting quite an exciting game as the second quarter rolls down. So almost halfway through. We'll keep you updated, of course. And don't forget the Porky Quiz with a bit of a difference this time around.
Yes.
It's a Christmas special because it's not going to be provided by the independent quiz masters.
That's right.
I've got a box of Trivial Pursuit questions here, and we're going to be picking the cards out at Porky's convenience.
Exactly.
And he's predicting a very high score. I'm not, though. I'm
really?
not sure. No.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
some Trivial Pursuit questions are very, very good. I mean, I once played Trivial Pursuit the first time, I think, in America.
Right.
And you know when you get to the end,
yes,
and they get to pick the subject.
Oh, yes.
So that your winning answer can be not something that you've actually chosen yourself.
Okay.
And I was playing with these American friends of mine, and they decided to choose an American sports question.
Oh, I see.
Because they thought I wouldn't know it.
Oh, yeah.
And it turned out that it was a baseball question. And I'd only just the week before been to a baseball game where this guy talked me through all the rules of it.
Oh, I see.
So I knew the answer.
You knew the answer.
And I won the game. Much to their chagrin.
Very good.
Yeah.
Talking to Sandra there, she had 35 degrees of sunshine on Christmas Day.
Yes.
But did you know that most of us have sun ray deprivation?
Well, some people call it seasonally affected disorder, don't they?
No, it's not that. No, not that one. It's where you're not getting enough vitamin D in your skin, which is what you get.
Because the sun doesn't shine on it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Now, you can go the other way, and the best example in history is Brigitte Bardot.
Yes.
Who spent far too long on a beach in Saint-Tropez and turned into a prune.
Well,
didn't she? Her face
you would say that, but I mean, she's still a very attractive woman. I would say, no matter what she looks like.
No. Brigitte Bardot was very attractive.
Beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
When she was a sex kitten at the age of 23.
Yeah, but you've got something against older women, haven't you?
No, I haven't got anything against older women. I think older women are brilliantly elegant and mature and lovely.
But you don't see them as a sexy person.
I do. I think mature women are very sexy. I think Prince William's wife, the Duchess of Cambridge, her mother, who used to be the air hostess, the trolley dolly. I think a very sexy lady.
You like her?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think mature women can have a tremendous sex appeal. But anyway, I was going to say, but Brigitte Bardot, nobody told her that the sun can do terrible things to your skin.
Yeah.
And her face is literally like a bag of prunes.
Yeah, but that doesn't take anything away from the woman that she is, though, does it?
Yeah, because it does, yeah.
I don't think so.
She doesn't look like a sex kitten anymore. She looks like a bag of prunes.
Well, of course she doesn't look like a sex kitten, but what I'm saying is that she could still be as attractive in a different way.
No, I don't agree. But anyway, what I'm saying is a new scientific survey says that the sun's rays boost our immune system in a previously unknown way.
It was a lovely sunny day yesterday, wasn't it?
Was it?
Did you not go out?
No, I don't think I did.
You didn't go out at all? You are looking a bit pasty, actually.
I can't remember whether
it was a beautiful sunshine yesterday.
I had a lot to do yesterday. Now then, sunlight, as we know, boosts levels of vitamin D.
Yes.
That strengthens the bones, helps you fight infections. But it also, we've now found from new research in my scientific journals, helps boost the immune system by turbo-boosting the T cells, right?
Right.
And the T cells are the ones which patrol our bodies and look for damaging organisms such as bacteria and then kills it.
Right.
That's what T cells do.
T cells.
And the more sunshine you get, the more T cells you've got active in your body.
Okay.
Sunlight makes T cells more active as they hunt bugs. And researchers at Georgetown University, you know Georgetown University?
Washington, D.C.
Just outside Washington. Yeah. Beautiful place, Georgetown.
Yeah, I stayed in a beautiful house there, actually, just a couple of years ago.
You told me, and I used to go on pub crawls around Georgetown, up and down the main street there.
Yes.
You know,
Great really, high street, that.
Yeah, great high street, Anyway, researchers at Georgetown University in the US said their findings may mean that we have to rethink how our bodies handle sunshine. So that's why I was talking to you about Bishop Pardew.
So what you're saying, it's a balance between not too much and not enough.
The balance is absolutely right. So, Associate Professor Gerard Ahern.
Ahern?
Ahern.
Well, like Caroline Ahern.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, just like that.
Or Ahern.
The late Caroline Ahern, sadly.
Well, she's one of those people that died in 2016.
That's right, yeah. He said, we know sunlight provides vitamin D. We found a quite separate role of sunlight on immunity. Some roles attributed to vitamin D on immunity may be due to this new mechanism. This is a fantastic breakthrough.
I'm not sure about T cells. I don't know much about them. So what are T cells exactly?
I'll explain to you. The key part of sunlight that makes T cells move faster is blue light.
Right.
The blue light aspect of sunlight, which is safer than the ultraviolet light needed to produce vitamin D.
Right.
Too much UV, that's ultraviolet to us in the medical...
scientific community.
Vernacular.
Yes.
Vernacular. What was I saying? Oh, yes.
You're going to explain what T cells are.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, too much UV, that's ultraviolet light, can promote skin cancer. Now, the T cells studied in this research paper, published in Scientific Reports, were taken from human blood.
Right. So a T cell is in the blood, is it?
It's in the blood.
Okay.
And they were compared to T cells from mice. Okay. And
mice don't spend a lot of time in the sun, do they?
Eh?
Mice don't spend a lot of time in the sun.
No, but
they spend a lot of time indoors.
Yes, but they do have T cells. So the T cells studying the research... hang on, what's I studying? I said that, haven't I? Oh, yeah, Now, the blue light was found to speed up T cell activity by making them synthesize with hydrogen peroxide.
That doesn't mean anything to me. I don't know what that means.
Well, what this means...
You're supposed to be translating this to the layman's language.
I am. I'll explain to you. This means there is a release of white blood cells when they see an infection, and the T cells are called upon by the immunity powers within the body and then generate and trigger other cells to respond.
So you're saying T cells are like a sort of accelerant, if you like, for white cells?
Yes, absolutely.
Is that what you're saying?
And if tests find blue light to be beneficial in humans, it will almost certainly mean some patients could benefit in the future from what we now call blue light therapy.
Well, so what is a blue light, though?
Well, blue light, I've just explained to you. It's part of sunlight. There's in sunlight.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, have they somehow managed to decant this blue light?
Yes, that's right.
And create an artificial blue light.
That's right.
So is it literally a blue light, though?
Yes, it is. Sunlight is made up of ultraviolet light and blue light. And if you can separate the two, which is what they've done, and the blue light concentrates on the skin, that's very good for you.
Okay.
If the ultraviolet concentrates on your skin, you can get skin cancer and you get sunburn and you end up with a face like a bag of prunes like Bridget Bardot.
Well, I mean, I wish you'd stop insulting her.
No,
She's
I'm
a very fine woman.
I'm not.
She doesn't have a face like a bag of prunes.
No, that is just an accurate description of what her face looks like.
I don't think so. So basically because also if you get, sun cream, normally it protects you from ultraviolet light.
Yes.
But I've never seen the phrase blue light written anywhere.
Well, this is a new development, you see. This is why.
So if you got, say, for example, a sun lamp, which some people lie underneath to get an all-over tan, right?
Yes.
You could maybe get a blue light version of that. Would you still get a tan?
You can get one that combines the two, because there's no point in having a sunlight for a tan if you haven't got any ultraviolet in it. It's the amount of ultraviolet you put on your skin.
So is that what gives you the tan?
Yes, that's right. Yeah, absolutely.
You sure it's not the blue light?
No. The blue light gives you the immunity and the vitamin D powers.
I see.
The ultraviolet burns your skin, but it does give you a tan before it burns your skin.
Well, I was out and about quite a bit yesterday.
And has cancer-inducing properties.
I was out and about quite a bit yesterday, so I would have got quite a reasonable amount of goodness through my T cells, I would say, unlike you if you didn't go out.
I mean, look, people say all the time, you should get out and about and feel better. And when I used to do a lot of walking on the Downs, and I still do, but I don't have time to do as much as I used to do, there's absolutely no doubt about it. If you've got a short-sleeve shirt on, pair of shorts, and you stride off across the North Downs, okay?
Yeah.
An hour later, you feel much, much better.
Yes.
And you think to yourself, well, that's because I've been exercising. It's not. It's because you're out in the sunshine.
Well, sometimes it's even if you're not out in the sunshine, you feel better for a walk generally, don't you?
Yes, but I mean, what I'm saying is there's a fine line between being out in the sunshine and taking the properties of vitamin D and blue light, which enhance your body, and staying too long and letting the ultraviolet rays then kill off all the beneficial properties.
No, indeed. Now, a couple of notes from around the world.
People would listen to me more.
To read. Yeah, well, sometimes they do and sometimes they don't.
Yeah.
How about this from Neil, who's up in Saskatchewan? It says, Merry Christmas, MG and Krampus Porky. We are looking forward to daytime high of -13 on Christmas Day.
Is that in Canada?
That is Saskatchewan in Canada, yeah.
It's in the Arctic Circle.
And Dan says, wondering if I can get a safe travel shout-out from MG and Mike Parry, about to board my San Francisco to London Heathrow flight with the podcast from the week.
Wow, have a great flight, pal, and get stuck into the free booze.
Yeah, SFO, I think that's San Francisco, isn't it? Isn't that the right code?
Yeah, it is,
Yeah. So loads more coming up in the next hour. We're going to be doing the Porky Quiz, of course, on a specific game of Trivial Pursuit.
Yeah.
It's going to be a very different Porky Quiz. It's a festive one. He won't be able to accuse me of gerrymandering it because the questions are already written down on cards, which are part of the game, of course. This is TalkSport. Now, I've just been handed a mince pie and a Ferrero Rocher, which appears to be a coconut Ferrero Rocher.
Oh, really?
Which
I
is
didn't know
nice.
they had them.
I didn't know they did either.
Let me see, please.
But it's called Raffaello on the front.
Okay.
Some kind of Ferrero Rocher type thing.
Okay. Yeah, well...
But I know you don't like me eating during the show, so
because
I may save them until the end.
No, that's right. Okay, fine. No, I don't mind if you want to have a munch in a break or something like that. It's just that I have to delicately balance my vocal cords with the saliva glands in my mouth and my jawrial activity.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
What do they call it? Mastication, don't they?
Well, that's eating. The jawrial
This is mastication, the course of chewing.
Yeah, yes, it is. But the jawrial is the movement of your upper and lower jaw.
Oh, right, okay. Chris says this.
To emit sounds from your voice box.
Chris says this. I hope you're going to ensure the show is repeated at night this time instead of leaving your loyal listeners high and dry. Well, the trouble is, Chris, it's not really our decision what happens when we're not on the overnight show. Sometimes the view is that the show that we do during the day is repeated, and other times it's not. But as much as you may think we run TalkSport, we don't.
Well, I thought your reply to our correspondent there was a little bit harsh, in which you said, well, it's not our decision. So I have sent a second reply saying we will be doing all we can to try and ensure that the podcast gets out on time, which I think is a much more friendly way of approaching it.
Well, the podcast, yes, but not everybody listens to the podcast. Some people like to listen to it live or listen to it actually on the radio.
Yes, of course, yes, but if people can't...
That may not help him.
People can't, then we will try and get it out there. Don't worry about that.
And Steve is asking why I mentioned the word gerrymandered if the quiz is never gerrymandered in the first place. Yeah. Well, the reason I mention it is because there's often accusations of gerrymandering from both sides, right?
Because I think sometimes you do.
Sometimes Mr. Parry accuses me of gerrymandering the questions, which I've never done, and I will often accuse him of cheating, i.e. gerrymandering, because he knows the subject matter of the quiz. But because he doesn't know the subject matter of the quiz, because it's all coming out of Trivial Pursuit questions, then you don't know what the questions are going to be.
I don't know.
So, I mean, it's not as if you're able to write anything down about whatever it is, the Battle of Hastings, or, any of the other recent subjects that we've done.
No, you're absolutely right.
Now, shall we go back to Roy Hodgson?
Well, just very briefly, I don't spend a lot of time on him, because he's been interviewed by the Times. and they go on the line of, when you should not have had to stand alone, all that kind of stuff. And then he's saying what he would have done. He was England manager. Well, he's not England manager anymore, and also it's
all very well.
I don't know why he's gone back.
Well, exactly. But it's also all very well him saying what I would have done. Well, it's very clear that what he did while he was England manager wasn't sufficiently good.
Yeah, exactly.
Otherwise, England would have done a lot better.
Yeah, and then in there's done quite a big piece here at times, like nearly 3 pages on him, And they've taken a separate piece out here, and it says, Roy Hodgson has been linked to the vacant manager job at Crystal Palace, but says that he will take his time over what happens next in his career. I'm not thrusting myself forward for every job that comes up. I'm leading a fairly low-key life, the 69-year-old says. I quite like the idea of still coaching. If you asked me what I put on my passport, football manager or football coach, I would put football coach. But you see, that's a pompous load of drivel.
Well, he is a pompous man.
A very pompous man. I mean, when he was unable to answer questions about the things that were going on, his favourite response to a perfectly natural, normal question from a journalist trying to do his job was, I'm a football man.
Yeah.
And what he meant by that riposte was, I understand things about football that you don't.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And I'm like a professor of football.
Yes.
I've been in it so long, I know it back to front. Well, yeah, but you've never had any success as manager.
And the game has been very good to him, considering his record.
Good.
His
very
record
good.
is not brilliant, and he's become a very wealthy man over the course of the last, 20-odd years.
Very wealthy man. He took 14 million out of the FA.
Yeah, I know.
For goodness sake.
Extraordinary. Now, a couple more messages. Here's one from Becky, who's at the airport. She says, good news, the flight to Dunedin is delayed by 20 minutes, which means I can listen to the horror of the Porky Quiz.
Oh.
2 out of 12 max.
Yeah, I don't think so. Dunedin, of course, being
in New Zealand.
Yeah, I was going to say, wasn't it the centre of a famous rugby scandal? Wasn't that where the England rugby players went out on the lash and
I think
it
all
all kind of got out of control?
Yeah, when they were down under in that part of the world.
Yeah.
It was also, funnily enough, it's a sort of Scottish word originally.
It is.
When Talk 107 was launched up in Edinburgh, which I worked for, it was originally called Dunedin Radio.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, OK. And I think there's a cricket ground there as well.
I think there may well be.
Mind you, there's a cricket ground in most towns in New Zealand, isn't there?
There is. Now, how about this from Nico, another part of the world heard from. Merry Christmas, boys. Enjoying and listening to the show from a rainy but nonetheless hottish Argentina.
Oh,
Keep
really?
up the good work.
One of my favourite countries, Argentina.
Yeah, I'd love to go to Argentina. I've never been.
I mean, Buenos Aires is a magnificent city, honestly. And by the way, Argentinian people are so good looking, I mean, you see the ladies in Argentina, absolutely beautiful.
Really?
Yeah. And also,
quite dark.
What?
Quite dark.
Yes, with dark hair and all that kind of stuff. And Buenos Aires is full of big sweeping parks in the middle, people lie around all day.
It looks a bit like Madrid, doesn't it?
It's got huge influence from Spanish architecture and that kind of stuff. Yeah. And also, there are parts of Argentina where... like in sort of parts of the United States, you go down to Texas and all that, people are still cowboys.
Yeah.
There are parts of Argentina where they're still gauchos.
Gauchos, is it?
Gauchos, yeah. Just a gaucho.
Not
Gaucho's a grill, isn't it? Yeah.
No, gaucho's the grill.
Yeah.
Gaucho's Marx.
Yeah, that's right, Groucho Marx, yeah. And the gauchos, they literally ride around on their horses with
the whips and everything.
Well, yeah, and the Clint Eastwood type blanket wrap around them. You know what I mean?
Yes,
and the cheroot and a poncho and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, really interesting.
Fascinating.
Now, I've got some great news for you.
Have you? Go on.
Because often you will be driving around, on family business and all that, and you'll have your children in the back of the car,
Indeed.
right? And, of course, kids at that age make a lot of noise.
They can do.
And they can be always shouting and all that.
Well, they can be fighting with each other.
Right. Now, some guy has, Ford in Germany, has invented a noise-cancelling device.
Really?
Which means that you, as a driver, will only hear what you want to hear from your dashboard and your own thoughts, and you won't have to be distracted by anything that happens in the rest of the car.
Is this based on one of those like white noise machines or something?
It says scientists say that balancing out sound waves makes it possible for drivers to hear only what they need to hear.
Right.
Substance used in top makes of headphones for in-car use.
Well, do you know how...
Right. It's like we'd like wearing headphones, but you're not wearing headphones, right?
Well, do you know, have you ever had a white noise machine?
No.
Which is one of the things you can buy for your bedroom.
No, what is it?
And it's basically something which supposedly does the same thing. It's supposed to kind of somehow block out all the other noise that's around you, apart from what, you basically are hearing in your own sort of mind.
Right, so if you live on a busy road, and let's face it, a lot of people in New York City, for instance, have the windows open at night on the 33rd floor, and all they can hear is the screeching of tyres and wailing of horns. You can eradicate all that.
I'm not sure, because I've never had one, so I can't say how good they are.
Yeah.
But the idea is that it's supposed to sort of negate all other noise, apart from this kind of ambient white noise that you hear.
If that's the case, shouldn't the government then go around issuing these machines to everybody who lives under the flight path into Heathrow so that they wouldn't have people complaining about noise?
Well, I don't know if it's that good, you see. That's the thing. But this sounds like a similar idea, doesn't it?
Well, it says here, Ford sound expert Dr. Ralph Heinrichs said noise-cancelling technology can enable you to choose whose voice you want to hear and whose you don't.
Right.
There's potential for drivers and passengers to tune out their fellow travellers' conversation, music or phone calls. Right? It says the system would create personalised sound zones so each occupant can hear what they want to at the flick of a switch.
Yeah.
So you kind of surround yourself with an invisible dome of protection against other noise in the car.
That might not be a good thing, though, because presumably you have to be aware of all sorts of noises around you while you're in the car. So, I mean, how do you know, for example, that you don't
the child
want to hear...
hasn't fallen out the back door?
Well, there's that, but there's also, you know, if you're driving, sometimes you want to be able to hear a police siren. You sometimes want to be able to...
Yes, true.
I remember the first time I got a car with a CD player in it, and it was a company car I got from the Mirror.
Yes.
It was a Volvo,
right,
which I thought was very, very luxurious at the time, because I've been driving around in Fords.
Yes.
And I was driving up the Archway Road on my way home, and I had one CD in the car. It was the first CD playing car I'd ever had.
Yes.
And I was playing it really, really loud.
What was the music?
Bizarrely, it was Westlife.
Westlife?
Yeah. Not
what, the boy band?
Yes.
Well, you're into the boy bands?
No, the only reason I had it was because the paper had given it away.
Oh, I see.
So I had a copy of it lying around.
Right, yeah, okay,
Because I got in the car and I thought, well, I must have a CD.
It
was the only one I had.
And I've got a new CD machine. I must put a CD in it.
Put a CD on,
that was the only one.
And what
a complete
Well, I mean, what's wrong with that? Why?
Good
What's wrong with Westlife?
Yeah, listen to this.
I mean, if you play it loud enough, it doesn't sound that bad, right? Anyway, I was playing it so loud that I didn't realise that behind me there was a police car with its blue light and its siren going like crazy.
Was it trying to stop you or just wanted to get out of the way?
No, just wanted to get out of the way.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Because I didn't know he was there.
Yes.
Because I hadn't looked in the mirror.
Yes.
You know, and I hadn't heard it.
That's right,
You know, I realised, and I suddenly had to move out of the way and I got this kind of wagged finger at me as he went past.
Yeah, I've had that sometimes from a cop.
So if that was all kind of, the noise was all faded away.
Yes, that's right, yeah.
That wouldn't be a good thing.
You could find yourself in trouble. Apparently it's a series of tiny microphones around the car which just pump, as you quite rightly say, white noise into your space.
Interesting.
And that's it, yeah.
Strange
interesting,
indeed.
Yes.
Now, we've got lots more to do, but not that much more time to do it in. The Porky Quiz is coming up fast.
Yes.
This is Talk Sport. Yes. It's coming up to Christmas, and everybody needs an advent calendar. So here's one for you, Two Mike style.
Ho, ho, ho! The first Chinese restaurant I went to was in the Rose in Chester, the Rose being the elevated part of the street, because the street's in Chester on two levels, the road and the Rose.
Right.
And it was down Bridge Street. And I remember she said, "Come on, let's go there." And I said, "Well, I've never been to a Chinese restaurant. I don't know if I'd like the food."
Yeah.
I didn't realise it was ordinary food.
What do you mean ordinary food?
Well, I didn't realise that you could have beef or you could have
what did you think it was?
Chicken. I thought it was like dragon or something like. No, seriously. I thought it was like. No, I thought it was very.
I'll have some of that dragon chow mein. Now, that one I do remember. Dragon chow mein. Here's one from One Night Wonder, Mr. Shaw.
Right,
He says, as soon as Porky mentioned the noise cancelling and being able to choose what you don't have to listen to, MG can be heard putting in an order.
Yes.
I think he's suggesting that would mean I couldn't listen to you while we were in here.
That's very harsh.
That is harsh, isn't it?
Yeah.
And Becky says it was Queenstown in 2011 where the England rugby team tossed dwarves, got bladerated, and upset a few barmaids.
Right, thank you. But Dunedin was certainly, I think, on the agenda
was
there.
Was that when Mr. Tyndall was found with his head in a place it shouldn't have been?
Yes, definitely. Rather too close to the embonpoint of a young lady, yeah?
That would be about right.
Yes.
And that other guy ended up jumping into the sea. Do you remember, to try and catch the ferry?
No.
Was it Vinnie Pola?
No, he was on the ferry and it was coming into harbour and he thought he'd swim to the shore instead. Okay. Crazy.
Yeah.
Listen, have you heard that now that Donald Trump has become the President of the United States of America, there's a vacancy for the American Apprentice show?
Oh, yes.
And
because he's not allowed to do it while he's President?
Well, he can't, can he? I mean, he's got a country to run. Right. So, but apparently Arnold Schwarzenegger's taking over.
Oh, yeah? I'll be back.
Yeah, I'll be back, yeah.
Well,
he's never learned to sort of speak English properly, has he, really?
Well, he speaks English pretty well. He just has an accent.
Yes, that's what I mean, yeah. I think he's quite funny, actually, when he does comic things, you know what I mean?
But, his face looks a bit odd these days. I mean, you were talking about Bridget Pardew.
Yes, that's
I mean, he's had a lot of Botox, I think, hasn't he?
I think you're right.
His face doesn't actually move.
Well, look, I'm not sure we can say that without the evidence, but it's certainly his face...
Well, his face doesn't look good.
It looks a strange...
I mean, you've just called Bridget Bardot's face like a bag of old prunes.
Well, yes.
I don't know why you can't insult Arnold Schwarzenegger in the same way.
Well, Listen, I found a device which means you can actually send a kiss to your, to your loved one.
Uh-huh.
I mean, absolutely send a kiss to your loved one by licking the device.
Really?
Yeah.
Licking what, the phone?
Yeah.
Licking it?
Yes.
Or just kissing it?
Well, you put your tongue on it.
Wow. Look, that doesn't sound very healthy.
The device which is named...
When you just put your lips against it?
It's called the Kissinger.
The Kissinger?
It's called the Kissinger.
Oh.
So, there used to be... In fact, there still is a very famous American diplomat called... Henry Kissinger, who's still alive, by the way.
He is.
He's in his 90s.
It looks like that.
I
rang him up once. I think I told you this story.
I did.
To try and get a quote from him.
The Vietnam War. Yeah, go on. Yeah.
And he wouldn't give me one.
Really?
He said, I do not give quotes over the phone.
Yes.
I said, well, can I come down and see you? No.
No.
I'm like, well, what am I supposed to do then? So I gave up and got somebody else.
Yeah, exactly.
Plank.
So the device, which is named the Kissinger, right?
Yeah. I'm surprised he hasn't sued them for misuse of his name.
Well, it's not spelt the same. This is Kissenger, Kissinger, whereas he was
like
Kissinger.
Messenger.
Yeah, that's right.
That's
like
quite clever.
But he was Kissinger, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So what happens is you connect the what's called a rubber lip to the bottom of your smartphone.
Right.
And it sits underneath the screen where you can display a live video link of your loved one's face.
Right.
Then you kiss the screen.
I see.
And that kiss can be transmitted onto the face of the person who you're communicating with.
Well, yeah, but that means they have to... So is it effectively like a pair of rubber lips then?
What you're doing is, at the same time, you have to put your bottom lip...
Presumably he or she at the other end must also have the same thing.
Absolutely, that's what I'm saying. So what you're doing is, you both have to have the device.
Yeah.
You put your lip on the bottom of the phone.
Yeah.
You then sort of, with your tongue, touch the screen.
Right.
And that sends the kiss signal...
So does a tongue come out the other end then?
No, but a sensation goes through the bottom lip.
All right.
Because when you've touched it with your tongue, it sends a message, and that sensation is like a vibration on your bottom lip.
Yeah.
And it's literally a kiss.
That sounds mad.
High precision force sensors are embedded under the lip pad to measure different parts of your lips during a kiss.
Yeah.
The device sends this data to your phone. It is then transmitted to your partner's phone, where small pistons embedded in the kiss pad.
Yes.
So you have to buy this as an adapter to your phone.
Right.
Small pistons, embedded in the kiss pad, reproduce your mouth movements and will give you the exact replication of what a kiss would do to your lips.
That sounds
if you're physically kissing somebody.
Well, that sounds very complicated and unnecessary, doesn't it?
Well,
what else can it replicate?
Well, yeah, but I mean, the idea that all of a sudden your lips will be moving as though a ghost has just kissed them is what the effect it has. Yeah. There's nobody actually there.
No.
But your lip is suddenly, shaping in your mouth to being kissed.
Yeah, but you have to hold this thing against your mouth, don't you?
Yes.
That's the point.
Yes.
That sounds ridiculous. I mean, what do you do to keep it clean, for example?
Well, it'll be yours personally, so you clean it every time you use it, I imagine.
But I mean, if you were to put your mouth around your phone...
No,
you wouldn't really want to do that, would you?
It's what it is. Like, I'm going to show you a picture of it. You actually put the phone into a rubber device, which looks
I understand that.
Like a sex toy, to be honest.
Well,
rather than anything else.
This was my slight problem about it. My slight worry.
But you put your lips on it, and then when whoever's on the other end, I'm going to show you. I'll show you. Look.
Let's have a look. Yeah.
And then
oh Christ, it's huge, isn't it?
Yeah. So it's like you're like putting your phone into what I can only describe as a small Wellington boot.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I mean,
and then the toe of the boot.
There might be people who would misuse something like that.
That's right. The toe of the boot is where you put your lips on and you go like that onto the end of your Wellington boot, for want of a better word.
What a horrible thought.
And then that sends...
Sort of maniacs come up with this idea.
And that, because of all the tiny pistons behind it, that absorbs the movement of your lips in your mouth.
Yeah.
And the person at the end who's got their lips on the end of the other Wellington boot suddenly gets a sensation of being kissed.
But you can only send it to someone who's got one.
Yes, that's right.
Well,
yeah, that's right.
Which is where it will fail. in my view.
Well, no, because if you get a loved-up couple, right, and they're both like...
Well, so this is a his and hers Christmas present.
Yeah, that's right.
That's
right, yeah.
I can't imagine anything worse.
No, you can't.
Imagine walking around with your phone stuck into something that looks like a device for oral sex.
Well, it does look like a device for oral sex, you're absolutely right. But the point is, you'd keep it in your bag, wouldn't you? Or in your handbag or something like that.
You pull your phone out by mistake to answer it.
Yeah.
It's got this big thing stuck on it.
Yeah, I know, yeah. I mean, it's very
Sounds
odd.
like a horrendous idea to me.
Well, it's Love and Sex with Robots conference at Goldsmiths University in London, where this was first unveiled.
Yes.
Yeah,
robot sex is the big thing, apparently.
It's ridiculous, isn't it?
Well, I mean, have you seen this show Humans?
Yes.
Which is on.
Yes.
I mean, I haven't seen it. I've only seen
Well, they look like mannequins with all the devices inside them, to make them look like humans.
Like Mickey Quins.
Yeah, like Mickey Quins, yeah.
Yeah.
But I think this device is just amazing.
I think it's ridiculous.
Amazing.
Well, you're not going to get one, are you?
Well,
you are thinking about it.
No.
Yes, you are.
No, I'm not.
I can tell.
No, I'm not. No, I mean, why
well, who would you get the other one for?
Well, this is the point. I'd have to go and find somebody who would like to, join in the experiment, so to speak.
Well,
you know what I mean?
I'm sure you could do that.
Well, I don't know.
By the way,
that.
I should have mentioned to you, because a few people did mention this when the news broke yesterday about Alan Pardew.
Yes.
It was only yesterday that you were telling everyone how we were going to Crystal Palace.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And suddenly the Porky jinx kicks in and he's gone.
That's right.
Because I think I said, well, I wonder if he's going to be around.
Well, funny enough, I put out a tweet today saying, sadly, Alan Pardew will not be a guest on the Two Mikes warm-up show on January the 21st, which is coming from Crystal Palace, where Everton are visiting that day.
Yes.
So I'm afraid not.
I'm afraid he was the victim of it.
Yeah.
Connor says this, can your breakdown cover not come out and start your car for free? This is about my car that I was mentioning yesterday.
Yes.
He says, I don't know if you've sorted it yet. I haven't sorted it yet. I'm going to try and sort it next week. Or at the earliest possible opportunity.
I have to say that the longer you leave these things, the worse they get, I mean,
the battery's flat. You can't get any flatter, can it?
Well, hang on. Now, I'll tell you what was interesting. You told me today in the communication that you're out in Borough Market today buying a slab of beef for £75. That's a very big slab of beef.
Well, it's not a very big slab of beef. It's very expensive.
Yeah, but that's big, £75.
Well, it's 2.2 kilograms,
and
so it's 32. I think it's 32 quid per kilo.
Is it fillet?
It's a côte de boeuf, which is a sort of a rib of beef, basically.
Right.
If you imagine,
it's got a rib in it, has it?
It's got a couple of bones coming out of it.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Because I didn't want to take the guy.
You need a huge oven to cook that, don't you?
No, not really. No. It's about, as I'm holding my hands, it's about the size of an iPad, I would say.
Right. Okay.
So it's not massive.
Okay. And is this for Boxing Day?
No, it's for Christmas Day.
Oh, you have beef on Christmas Day?
Well, we just decided to have beef this year because...
Your boys like beef, yeah?
They love it.
Okay.
I think last year... We don't very often have turkey just because none of us are particularly massive turkey fans, really.
Yeah, my sister doesn't like turkey, although she's hosting Christmas lunch this year, but we like to be traditional.
Yeah.
I
think we had chicken last year.
Yeah.
And some years we have lamb.
Yeah.
I haven't had beef for a long time just as a Christmas joint.
So what I was going to say is, if you can spend your time wandering around Borough Market buying £75 slabs of beef, why couldn't you have picked up a tin of WD-40 to allow you access into your car?
Oh, which part of Borough Market do they sell WD-40?
Well, you can go to a Whole Foods, which is on the way.
No, it isn't.
Yes,
Where's there a Whole Foods near Borough Market?
Well, down in Surrey Quays, there is a Whole Foods.
No, there isn't.
Yes, there is.
No, there isn't. Surrey Quays is my local shopping centre,
That's right. Yeah.
And there isn't one there. There is one on the Old Kent Road.
There's one on the Old Kent Road.
But I wasn't driving. I was on the tube.
And that's, well, you should get your car out and go and drive to somewhere.
Why?
Well, because if you don't, I'm telling you, that car is going to be unobtainable.
Unobtainable?
Or unaccessible.
All right, well, tell me this. Well, that battery is flat. How much flatter can a battery get once it's flat?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is if the doors suddenly just rust into...
The doors are not going to rust.
In operation, you'll never get them open again.
It's in an enclosed underground garage. It's not going to deteriorate because of the weather.
You don't understand how mechanical things...
You've never had a car that old?
Just deteriorate. Sorry?
You've never had a car that old?
Of course I haven't.
So you don't know how it works?
Well, I want to drive around in a heap before.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So you don't have any idea what you're talking about?
Yes,
ever?
I do.
Thank you. This is Talk Sport. The Porky Quiz is coming up.
Yes.
Game, and I want to play the game with you. Life can be terribly tame if you don't.
This is Talk Sport, and it's time for the Porky Quiz. Recognise that piece of music?
Is that the Generation Game?
I think it is, isn't it?
Yes, I think it is, yeah.
Now, we've got 6 categories here, right?
Okay.
I'm just going to briefly sum up what Trivial Pursuit is.
Yes.
Whereby on each card, there is a question from each of the categories, right? You've got G for Geography, E for Entertainment, H for History, AL for Arts and Literature, SN for, I think that's Science and something else, and then finally SL for Sports and Leisure. Or sports and leisure, if you like. Yeah. So I've got an entire host of quiz questions here.
Sorry, what's AL again?
AL is Arts and Literature.
Arts and Lit.
And you're going to get 2 questions from each that you can pick. So when I pick a card out at random, you can nominate which question you wish to ask. Now,
but I can only have 2 from each category during the 12.
I think that was the rule that we made.
Yes, that's right.
Now, there's only one caveat, which is that because this is quite an old game, we've agreed that if it's a question of, say, for example, a record in sport of some kind.
Yes.
We may pass on that and move to another question.
Okay, I agree with that.
In case the record is, in fact, not very valid anymore.
Okay.
Now, are you ready for the first question?
Yes, please.
I'm going to pick, as you can see, a card from the middle of the pack.
Right.
And I'm going to ask you which category you would like to have a question on.
Okay. I want to kick off, please, with a history question.
A history question?
Yes.
Okay, history question. Who was the first US president born in a hospital?
The first US president born in a hospital?
Yeah.
What a stupid question.
Well, I mean, that's the question I've got here.
That's not a historical question. That's a stupid question.
It is a question. That's from Trivial Pursuit. What are you looking at me like that for?
Well,
just
because
at random.
It's ridiculous. It's like saying who's the first American president to wear yellow socks. I mean, it's
not
such
really
a ludicrous.
Well, are you going to have a crack at it?
Well, I mean, if it said who was the first US president to sign, a nuclear deterrent treaty or something,
well, maybe that's
historical.
Maybe that'll be the next historical one you get.
Ridiculous question. Right, okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you who it was.
Okay, who was it?
It was... What are you laughing at?
Because your facial expression is very inscrutable.
Mine is thinking aloud,
I'm going to have to hurry.
Right, I'm thinking it's probably Woodrow Wilson, but it could be Teddy Roosevelt. It could be Franklin Delano Roosevelt. So I'm gonna go for Teddy Roosevelt.
Incorrect.
No, I won't forget this game for a long time.
It's Jimmy Carter.
Jimmy Carter.
Yes. Jimmy Carter.
Jimmy Carter, the peanut farmer.
Peanut farmer. Okay, I'm now going to take a second card out for question number 2.
Okay.
Which category would you like?
In the second category, please, I'd like an entertainment question.
Entertainment.
Yes.
Who jumped off the Tallahatchie Bridge?
What?
Who jumped off the Tallahatchie Bridge?
Tallahatchie Bridge.
Yeah.
Now that's in a song, I think. I think this is a. It's a country song. The Tallahatchie Bridge. Let me just think. The Tallahatchie Bridge. By the way, is this an American version of Trivial Pursuit? Because the first question about American president, and Tallahatchie is in America.
Yeah, but it's not. There's all sorts of questions about different countries.
Tallahatchie Bridge. Now, who jumped off the Tallahatchie Bridge?
Yes.
Oh, was it... now, thinking aloud. Yeah. I think it's somebody called Billy Joe. Billy Joe, it's a love song about Billy Joe's unrequited love, right?
Yes.
And I think he got so despairing. I think he went and jumped off the Tallahatchie Bridge.
Yeah.
Could it be Billy Joe? Could it be Bobby Joe? Bobby Joe. Could be Bobby Joe. Could be Bobby Joe.
Yeah.
Lady. She might have jumped off the Tallahatchie Bridge.
Okay. I'll have to hurry you.
I think it's Bobby Joe.
That's it?
Yes, that's the
Incorrect.
answer. No. I won't forget this game for a long time.
The answer is Billy Joe McAllister.
Well, I said Billy Joe.
You said Bobby Joe.
I said Billy Joe.
You said Bobby Joe.
No.
You changed your mind at the last minute. You would have had to give me the last name anyway. Otherwise, you've only got half a point.
Billy Joe would have been the answer.
Now, next question. Question number 3.
Right.
Which category would you like?
I'd like this category, please, in sport and leisure.
Sport and leisure.
Yes.
What team benefited from the talents of Peter Taylor and Brian Clough prior to Brighton?
Prior to Brighton?
Yes.
Right, hang on. So we must be talking here about...
Which proves it must be an English version of the game.
Yeah, hang on. Where did Leeds United come into the... So the guys met at Derby. From Derby, they left there, and I think they went to Brighton, and then I think I'm going to say Derby County.
Correct.
Hey! We've done a good game.
Well done.
Yeah.
That's 1 out of 3.
Yeah.
All right, next card from the pack.
Yes.
Which category, please?
I would like science, please.
You would like science.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. What's the winter counterpart to estivation?
Sorry?
What is the winter counterpart to estivation?
What is estivation?
Well, I don't know. You're supposed to know that.
What is the winter counterpart to estivation? So estivation must happen in the summer. I reckon that must mean estivation is referring to the flowering of plants and trees in the spring. So the winter counter to that must be something like, thinking aloud, deforestation or defloration. Could be defloration.
I can't give you any clues, unfortunately.
I think estivation, defloration. Right, I'm going to say estivation. The opposite is defloration.
I won't forget this game for a long time.
It's hibernation, funnily enough.
Hibernation?
Yeah, so it's the opposite of hibernation, I guess.
Hibernation.
Yeah. 1 out of 4. Question number 5.
Okay.
Which category, please?
To complete the all-round geography, please.
Geography.
Yes.
What is named after Amerigo Vespucci?
Amerigo Vespucci?
Yes.
I tell you what's named after Amerigo Vespucci, thinking aloud here.
Yes.
America, because Amerigo is often credited with being the man who actually hit the mainland first. Christopher Columbus only hit some Caribbean islands.
Is that your final answer?
Well, hang on. I'm thinking aloud. Amerigo Vespucci.
Yes.
Sounds like one of those soups that you eat cold. I'm going to have to say the United States of America.
Correct.
Hooray!
We've done a good game.
Woo, woo, woo.
Or otherwise, you could have said a restaurant in Canary Wharf, which I used to frequent.
Oh, right,
I wouldn't
okay.
have given you the... right, next question, number 6.
Yes.
Which category, please?
To complete the 6, 1, 2, I'm going to have an AL, please.
That's
Arts and Lit.
and Literature,
Yes.
right. Who wrote Women in Love?
I am a woman in love, and I do anything to get you. I'm thinking aloud, by the way.
Okay.
Women in Love.
Yeah. I have to hurry you. We're taking a long time.
Okay, I know the answer to this one.
Go on.
And in fact, I went to her apartment in New York. Barbara Taylor Bradford.
Incorrect.
No!
I won't forget this game for a long time.
No!
D.H. Lawrence, you plate.
No!
How could you think Barbara Taylor Bradford wrote Women in Love?
Barbara Taylor Bradford wrote it. The great
D.H.
British author who
Lawrence.
lives in
No.
What?
D.H. Lawrence. It's one of the most famous books in history.
No, it's Barbara Taylor Bradford.
Question number 7.
Yeah.
Which category, please?
I think we'll go back to history, please.
History, okay. What country's entire population was condemned to death by the Spanish Inquisition?
That's quite harsh, wasn't it?
Yeah, very harsh.
So a country, the whole population...
I didn't
condemned-
expect the Spanish Inquisition.
Spanish Inquisitions, they turned up with all their hot branding irons, did they? And started inserting them into people's orifices and all that kind of stuff. Is that right?
I can't say. I can't give you any clues.
Yeah. Well, I suppose they were at war with England, and France were always at war with somebody. And hang on, could have been when they were invading South America. So I'm going to say, I think it was when they had a go at all them nice Inca people and the Mayans and all that. I'm going to say Mexico.
Incorrect.
No!
I won't forget this game for a long
the Netherlands,
time.
funnily enough.
The Netherlands.
The Netherlands, yeah. Obviously, they didn't succeed. Okay, question number 8. So
Well, if
far,
they had
you've
it
got
done, there'd
2
have been
right.
no Ruud van Hulet.
No, indeed. Now, which category, please, for question number 8?
Right, we're going to go this time to sports and leisure.
Sports and leisure. Who won the 1980 Olympic decathlon?
1980 Olympic decathlon?
Yes.
That would probably be thinking aloud. It'd probably be the chap with the moustache who often appears on shows here at Talk Sport, Daley Thompson.
Correct.
Hooray!
We've done a good
Big fan of the show, funnily enough.
Yes.
He may be listening, in fact.
Yes.
He listens on his way home.
Yes.
Right, that's 3 out of 8. Well done.
Well, it should be 4 because I
oh.
got Billy Joe.
No, you didn't.
I did.
You had Bobby Joe, and you didn't have a last name anyway. Right, next question, number 9. Which category?
This time we'll go for entertainment, please.
Entertainment. Who was Richard Hearn's most famous comedy character?
Richard Hearn.
Yeah.
Now then, Richard Hearn's most famous comedy character. I don't even know who Richard Hearn is, actually, so thinking aloud.
You just have to have a guess then.
Richard Hearn's most famous comedy character. Now, you see, this could be a guy who's a cartoonist who writes cartoons, or it could be an actor. I'm going to say Richard Hearn's. I'd say. Alf Garnett.
Incorrect.
No.
It is, in fact,
I
Mr.
won't forget this game for a long time.
Mr. Pastry.
Mr. Pastry.
Which I would not have known.
Actually, Ralph Garnett I knew was Johnny Spate,
Yes.
so it was a stupid guess.
Yeah, it was a stupid guess. Question number 10. Which category, please?
We'll go to arts and literature, please.
Arts and literature. Okay, what type of animal is Rikki Tikki Tavi?
Rikki Tikki Tavi. What kind of an animal? Rikki Tikki Tavi. Rikki Tikki Tavi, I believe to be a...
I believe to be.
Yes, a raccoon.
Incorrect.
No. I
He is,
won't
in
forget
fact,
this game for a long time.
He is, in fact, a mongoose.
Well, he sounds very close. I was going to say mongoose, actually. Do you know what? I was going to say mongoose. I was going to say mongoose.
Well, you didn't say. I'm glad you didn't ask me for
mongoose.
a geography question. That could have been interesting. Now, you've got geography and
science.
And science left. So
go science, please.
You're going to go science.
Yes, please.
Okay, so let's see. What causes baker's itch?
Baker's itch?
Yeah.
Well, I suppose an itchy baker has probably got a lot of like flour in his
codpiece.
I was going to his groin. You know what I mean? It's everywhere, that flour.
Why would you assume it's a groin itch?
Well, because a normal itch you can deal with, by making sure you don't get flour on your arms and all that kind of stuff. But if flour,
well, when I worked at Louis' Patisserie,
yes,
the little lane that led to the back of the bakery was called Baker's Passage.
Baker's Passage,
which we often thought was some kind of illness.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So baker's itch. You want to know what? Where on the body is it?
No, I want to know what causes it.
What causes it?
Yeah.
Well, I know what it is.
Go on.
I know the answer to this.
Go on.
I'm sure of it.
Yeah.
Yeast.
Correct.
Hooray! Yes! We've done a good game. Woo.
So you've now got 4 out of 11.
Should be 5,
can you make 5 out of 12?
Okay.
I'm afraid the last one is going to have to be
geography.
Geography, I believe, right?
Yes.
So let's have a look at this. What colour is the district line as shown on maps of London's underground?
District.
That's so easy.
Oh, blimey, I've got to get this right. Now, district and circle, okay? They run around together. So, district line.
You can't get this one wrong.
Well, hang
surely.
on. It's either green or yellow. Now, I can't remember which is which. I think district is green and circle is yellow. I'm thinking aloud here. I need inspiration. District. Now, hang on. Now, that goes off down to Wimbledon, which I sometimes go to. That's green. I'm going to say green.
Correct.
Hooray! We've done a good game.
So your entire total is 5 out of 12.
Hey.
Less than 50%.
Hey, come on, it should be 6 because I got Billy Joe.
Well, it shouldn't be 6 actually.
I said Billy Joe, and you gave me the eyes like a goalkeeper does to a penalty taker, and you put me off.
I did not give you the eyes.
But with that, I would have got 6. That's brilliant
5
result.
out of 12 proves that you're not exactly, as you say, brilliant at Trivial Pursuit.
I think that's a brilliant result. I love it.
You are not brilliant at Trivial Pursuit. However, that was not bad. Not a bad effort at all.
Absolutely.
And quite an interesting way to do it, I think.
Yes.
We could keep doing it like that, but I suppose that's maybe not.
Well, we would see in the new year what we're going to come up with.
We'll see what
we
do.
Definitely.
This is Talk Sport. That was the Porky Quiz.
Hey! The sun goes down like a bad, bad dream. You end up tight, gotta let off steam. They say they can break you again and again. If life is a radio, turn up to 10. Some crazy, 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 crazy night.
This is Talk Sport. We are the two mics. Quite a bit of reaction to the new style quiz.
Oh, indeed.
Which will continue in the festive period.
Yes.
Becky says, good job by Porky in the quiz. Questions far too easy. Never knew about the hot irons up the bottom, though.
Oh, I see, yes.
And,
well, I didn't quite say that, did I?
Alan says, 5 out of 12. 2 was sport. Hardly general knowledge, Porky. More like trivial plank.
No.
And Dave says, after that performance, can I suggest Porky's next game-based challenge should be Buckaroo?
Yeah, what's that? Is that a drinking
Buckaroo?
game?
No, it's a kids' game where you've got the horse that kicks its hind legs up. And I think the idea is that you're supposed to, it's like a bucking bronco, and the idea is you're either supposed to stay on it or something. I can't remember. I never played it, to be honest.
I see. And getting back to earlier issues in the show, James Barry Jr. says, Porky insulting Brigitte Bardot.
Yes.
Calling her face a bag of prunes. I would say he's not exactly an oil painting, is he?
Yeah.
If he is, he's a Picasso.
Yes, I think they're suggesting you're a bit of a cubist.
Yes.
Now, the trouble is, right, despite what anybody tries to do and keep it as clean as possible, which we've done, I mean, there was no gerrymandering possible there, was there?
No.
Steve says this. Basically, MG switched to the UK questions after Porky rumbled him.
Yes, exactly.
People are very, very suspicious. You saw me.
Well, of course they're suspicious.
You saw me taking the cards out of one particular place.
Yeah,
right?
but I don't know what you'd put into that particular box of cards before you started pulling them out.
Well, you should have asked.
I wasn't asked to inspect
you should have asked
the delivery of questions earlier in the day. You know,
how about this from Jim? The Kissinger, the perfect Christmas gift for the man who has everything, i.e. Porky. Complete lunacy.
What?
I can't imagine what anybody would want with one of those. It's ridiculous.
With one of what?
Eh?
One of what?
One of those kissing
devices. Well, they're different, aren't they? Now, here's a lady Eileen, you see, who's a woman whose opinion I massively respect.
Is that right?
Yeah, I agree, Mike. Who was the first American president born in hospital? What a ridiculous question.
Well, I don't set the questions in Trivial Pursuit, neither do I set them in the Porky Quiz. You can't have a go at me for that.
And she, Lady Eileen, as I call her, she's suffering a bit of flu herself at the moment, so she's very aware of the hospital environment, so to speak.
Is that right?
Yeah.
William says, Porky, you should have got Billy Joe. The song is called Ode to Billy Joe.
Well, that's what I knew. And then I
just got it Bobby Joe then.
Because I'm saying Billy Joe, and you're looking at me with dismissive eyes, and I'm thinking, no, it's not Billy Joe, it's Bobby Joe.
You shouldn't pay any attention to my eyes.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you can even see my eyes through these glasses anyway.
Yeah.
But you should not constantly see. The trouble is with you, you assume that I'm in some way leading you down the garden path.
Yes, I do.
Which I'm never doing.
Yes.
You know, I'm not in any position to help you or to hinder you one way or the other.
Right, now here's a plank S, okay? You could call me a plank. Vicky, you are a plank S, my dear.
Why is that?
She said before the quiz, feeding off all this festive happiness in the air, so I call tonight's quiz at 4 out of 10.
Yeah, that was before the
quiz.
Tis
my gift of kindness to plank. Yeah, exactly.
Well,
what did I get?
Well, you got
5.5.
No, you got 5.
I got Billy Joe.
You did not get Billy Joe.
I should have got Billy Joe. You put me off.
I didn't put you off.
So can I say, Vicky, go back and do your research on my intellectual abilities, please, before you start throwing accusations out again.
Have you got anything actually down on your Christmas list that you're looking forward to receiving? Because, I mean, once you get to a certain age, you don't really want a surprise, do you? You sort of have conversations about things that you might want.
Well, to be honest, today, when I leave here, I will go home and maybe sort things out for a couple of hours, maybe get my head down or whatever. But then I've got a big day of picking up stuff.
Oh, have you?
Like Christmas drink.
Oh, right.
Some Christmas food.
Right.
And a
You've
number
left it a bit late, haven't you?
No, because it's all been ordered for a long time.
Yeah,
and it's synchronised because I pick it up tomorrow.
Right.
And then I drive down to my sister's, which is only a few miles away.
So you're going to take it down there.
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
So there'll be 2 cases of booze, there'll be some food orders, which I'm picking up and donating, and quite a lot of presents, actually, which I've had made or in abeyance or something like that.
Or click and collect or something like that.
Not really. Things like, for instance, when somebody's asked me for a particular present of a clothing nature, I've had it and then it's gone to them. It's been measured and then back to me to be tailored properly and all that kind of stuff. So it can be like,
so have you got to wrap
unwrapped
anything?
on the day.
Have you got to wrap anything?
No, because I have a wrapping service who do that.
A wrapping service?
Yes.
Oh, really?
Yes.
You wouldn't want to get that wrong, would you?
No, you wouldn't know.
Because if you didn't get the right wrapping service, you might end up with people just wrapping. Do you know what I mean?
What are you talking about?
Wrapping without a if you had the wrapping service that didn't have a W in it, you just get a load of guys wrapping.
What an idiot you are, honestly. And they can wrap all that up. So that keeps me quite busy.
Yeah.
The other thing I always do on Christmas Eve, because I regard tomorrow really as Christmas Eve, because it's the last Friday.
Friday, yeah.
I always go and get my car washed. I don't know why.
Do you know, I'm thinking of getting my car washed. My car is filthy.
Yeah, well, you should get it clean. You don't want to wake up on Christmas Day with a filthy car.
Yeah, well, the trouble is, right, is when you live on a farm, the road tends to get a bit muddy from time to time.
Well, you don't live on a farm.
Yeah, I do.
No, you don't.
I live on a farm.
You don't. You live down a country lane. It's as simple as that.
No, it's on a farm.
And actually, it's not even that big a country lane. It's a lane in a small town.
It's on a farm. It's on a farm. Trust me.
No, it heads to a farm.
Well, no, it's inside the grounds of the farm.
No, I don't think so.
Well, it doesn't matter what you think. I'm telling you what it is.
Didn't look like that when I was there. Mind you, it was pouring down with rain. It was very dark.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I don't think you know entirely exactly what the surroundings are like. There's sheep up the road.
Sheep, yeah. Okay, well, it's all right.
Marty,
They keep the grass down.
You'll be pleased to know, I enjoyed the quiz. He said the Porky Quiz was very enjoyable radio. I enjoyed it immensely.
Good.
I even learned a thing or two.
Good. I'm very glad.
Well, we didn't learn anything from what you said, presumably.
I think they did. But anyway, look, it just proves, really, that when it comes to knowledge, you can go wide and far.
Yeah,
within the parameters of my brain.
Tom says, I got 10 out of 12, Porky. Not a bad effort by you, but still poor.
10 out of 12.
That's
Do
what he
me
says.
a favour. Stroll on, pal.
Well, he says he got 10.
Ruddy here says, respect to both of you two. Keep up the good work going into 2017. We have an awful lot of tweets like that. Can I say, most of the tweets which have said, Happy Christmas and great shows this year and thanks for all that, I have tried to reply to individually.
Yes.
However, there have been an awful lot of them, and if I haven't replied individually, I'm sorry, and I'm going to reply collectively, obviously, before Christmas Day.
Yes, indeed. I mean, we did say that a little bit earlier, and it's lovely that people send so many nice messages in, and lots of pictures, and they go to a lot of trouble to make little graphics up. And,
That's right.
And do a bit of Photoshop here and there. It's always very funny.
It is.
And we do appreciate it. But as you say, sometimes you can't just get to all of them.
You can't just reply to all of them. Now, a great inquiry here from William, who's a regular correspondent.
Yeah.
Are you guys exchanging Christmas presents this year? The answer to that is we are.
Well, we might be.
On our Christmas Eve show. No, I'm going to give you a present.
You are?
Yeah,
you should be telling me all week you weren't going to.
No, I'm going to.
All right, okay. I'll better get you something then.
Right, okay.
Would you like mince pie?
No, thank you. No, I don't want mince pie.
In lieu of a present.
No, I don't. No.
Yeah.
Get something proper and decent, okay?
All right, because it's a very short show, actually, tomorrow. It's only a 2-hour show tomorrow.
Yeah, we thought it was going to be 3 hours.
Yeah, and apparently some rugby on in the afternoon.
Yeah, what's that all about?
Well, I don't know.
Yeah,
but, I mean, it's on starts at 1 o'clock.
Okay, right.
1 o'clock.
Here we go. It says here the Kissinger. That's the device where you can kiss into your mobile phone.
I don't like it.
It literally transmits all the feelings of a kiss to the lips of your partner in life.
I mean, first of all, can I just ask the question? I'm sure that is not true. How could it possibly replicate?
I've shown you the device. It actually exists.
No, I know, but it can't replicate a kiss, can it?
Anyway, Jim says the Kissinger, the perfect Christmas gift for the man who has everything, i.e. Porky, complete lunacy. I think you're right there.
I read that one out already.
Oh, have you? Sorry, I didn't know that. Now then, Sandra, who was on earlier, and has already sent.
She sent a picture of her dog's house.
I was about to say, I was already sent a picture of the snake in the Christmas tree. Very eerie and rather worrying if you don't like snakes like I don't. Has also now sent us a picture of her 2 dogs.
Yes.
Rescue hounds, Spud and who?
Well, the name that she told us, which is named after the place in the Northern Territories where he was found.
Spud and Seisha.
Seisha, I think it was.
And they, the picture of taking them, the dogs grinning and panting and rather
nice-looking hounds, aren't
rather
they?
nice jovial faces. And it says the 2 dogs wish the 2 mics and all their listeners and us individually a very Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
Well, woof woof. Thank you, hounds.
Woof woof. Thank you, hounds, indeed.
Great.
Now, as a rejoinder for your terrible insult and attack on Brigitte Bardot, you might remember one of her sort of fellow travellers was Jane Fonda. Have you seen her picture in the paper today? And how would you describe her face? Hanoi Jane, as she was once known.
Well, she's known as Hanoi Jane because, believe it or not, as an American citizen, she went and sat on the gun.
I know.
Of a
North Vietnamese anti-aircraft gun,
anti-aircraft battery,
and pretended to shoot.
And gave the V sign, V for victory. And it's any wonder for about the next 30 years she was like rather unpopular in America.
Indeed.
Although there were a lot of people against the Vietnam War in America, they thought for her to go and pose with the other side was
but it was one thing to be against the war, another thing entirely to go and actually pretend to shoot down American airmen.
What was her left-wing academic husband called? Was it Tom Hayden?
Tom Hayden, that's right.
Tom Hayden, yeah, that's right. And of course she was very influenced by him. He was a professor.
He became a senator, didn't he?
Did he become a senator? I didn't realise that. Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
But I know that she went out with Ted. She married Ted Turner, or was with Ted Turner for a long time when he was running CNN.
She married Ted Turner, and the most amazing thing was the first time she went to his farm in Montana.
Yeah.
She thought she was going to a farm, like we all would, Yeah. And then discovered the farm was literally the size of Wales.
No, it's half the state, yeah. I know. But, I mean, she's not... her fingers look as if they're slightly wrinkled, but her face is not wrinkled.
No.
Because you'd have to say, once again...
She's had some treatment.
She may have had some work.
Yeah, I'm sure she has.
I'm sure we're able to say that.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll be back tomorrow, right here on Talk Sport for the warm-up. It is from 11 to 1 p.m, and that will be Christmas Eve. There will be a bit of a Christmas flavour to the show, I dare say.
Yeah.
And I shall see you then, Mr. Parry.
Indeed.
This is Talk Sport.
Utah's a fascinating state.
I wouldn't say that.
It is, because there's nothing there.
Well, it's not that there's nothing there. There's the Mormon Tabernacle Choir.
Well, there is, and there's the lakes are salty.
And the centre of the Mormon religion.
Yeah.
I mean, there's quite a lot going on there, but it's quite a boring place.
Did you ever come across any of the Hamish?
Hamish?
Yeah.
You mean the Amish?
The Amish, yeah.
Or the Amish?
Yeah, the
Hamish.
Amish.